Hey everybody, you're tuning in to the Canary News Talk live stream, pre-stream. We're doing it, folks. We're going to do another show. Can you believe it? It's Friday. Now, we're a little bit late, as usual, but this is the last day of our experimental new format. I don't know, we might try it some more. We'll continue to tweak, but I'm putting right now into the chat a link that will take you to a 4-question survey about the new format. It's easy, it's fast, and it'll really help us out. I know my last surveys have been a little long sometimes, so this one's just 4 questions, okay? So if you can, click on that link that I just posted into the chat. Take the little survey, 4 easy questions. Let us know what you think. I am right now sending out the text message to alert the rest of the affiliates. Now, what else here? There was something else. Oh, I went through the link tree today. You can also find the new survey over there on the link tree, and the invite link to the Discord server has been refreshed. So if you've been trying to join the Discord server, which I suggest you do, you can do that now. The invite has been refreshed. Okay, well, we got a great show for you today, and I hope you like it. My brain, my tongue, my mouth is not connected. All those things are not connected yet, but they will be, because we're starting the show in 3, 2, 1.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary News Talk.
You're listening to Canary News Talk, and we are live to tape on July 22nd, 2022. This is episode 512, and today, Borg of the Flies. And signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle, I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, live from California. Here to serve you a podcast that brings you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And today's emergent phenomena are transmission, transparency, transmedium, trans warfare. That's it. That's all the stuff.
We're going to get banned. We're going to get banned already.
No,
I was going to say knives. Knives also.
Sure, yeah.
Knives
Sharp
are
objects.
An emergent phenomena today.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Gonz, let me give you a little bit of a rundown here. Starting right off the bat, Biden has a new update. We gave him a little bit of guff the other day. Breaking news, old man coughs. But here's more breaking news. Old man continues to cough. Then we're going to be checking in with the beast system and seeing what they are doing to control the minds of not only the human beings, but the insects around us. Then a quote by Blank. And what the new hip Flippy, of course, will be stopping by. Gonz, a very thorough analysis and history of the SEC, which we're very excited for. Buckle up, folks. Then after the first break, okay. Knives and UFOs. You got to pay attention. Things move quick around here. And then when we bid adieu to YouTube, we'll be checking in with the pandemic, or which pandemic really is the real question. And then climate criminals. Are they in your neighborhood? Are they coming for you? Well, you'll find out more later on in the show. And then, of course, we'll be heading down south to Antarctica. But first, Gonz, let's go check in on the old man.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Canary COVID.
It became true.
It happened.
The jingle came true.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Joe with a 21-second message to the world.
Hey, folks, guess you heard this morning I tested positive for COVID. But I've been double vaccinated, double boosted. Symptoms are mild, and I really appreciate your inquiries and your concerns. But I'm doing well. I'm getting a lot of work done. I'm going to continue to get it done. And in the meantime, thanks for your concern, and keep the faith. It's going to be okay.
Keep the faith.
Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Breaking news. Old man coughs. Not a single cough in that whole update there. Very suspicious, Gons, if you ask me.
I'm suspicious. I think this was filmed in April 2022.
Oh, you think so, huh? Is that because of lack of coughs?
Lack of coughs. I'm looking at the weather back there. It doesn't look like July DC weather.
No. Plus, yes, you are an expert in July DC weather.
And wasn't he traveling around recently too?
Yeah, of course. He went to the Middle East, but he was fist bumping, criminals, human rights abusers. He fist bumped a man whose literal code name in the CIA is Mr. Bonesaw, in just sort of a very cool and casual, fist bump, trying to avoid the official handshake. That was always very fun to watch.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of, of course, a little reporting on it from USA Today. Headline, Biden feels fine. Okay? Stop asking. Biden feels fine after positive COVID test. Very mild symptoms. Live updates. That's what we want. We want live updates. Hours after testing positive for COVID-19 on Thursday, President Joe Biden reassured the nation it's going to be okay. Hey, folks, guess you heard this morning I tested positive for COVID. Biden, 79, said in a 21-second video released on social media Thursday afternoon. Quote, but I've been double vaccinated, double boosted. Symptoms are mild. A maskless Biden who appeared to be... A maskless Biden who appeared to be speaking from the White House's Truman balcony said he's doing well and getting a lot of work done. Quote,
is that meant to make him look threatening? Like, he's maskless and he's got COVID.
Yeah, right.
Be scared.
Well, that's what I mean. It's an interesting line they have to walk right now, because on one hand, he's got COVID. There's a cameraman there, and he's positive for COVID. They should have done the selfie thing. Had him the old man selfie thing, like he's holding it down way too down low,
right? And
he's looking at it, and he's got his thumb over the camera. Then I'd believe that he has COVID.
He'd be scrounging around trying to find his notes on the phone. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work out.
Where's the internet on this thing? Quote, in the meantime, thanks for your concern, Biden said, and keep the faith. It's going to be okay. What faith is he talking about? Faith in what?
Satan faith.
Faith that the pandemic is still going. I saw there's an interesting sentiment going around, even from sort of blue checkmark Twitter of like, okay, so a 79-year-old man has the super deadly ninja variant, and he's fine, and he's just going to keep working, and we should keep the faith. And so, does this mean the pandemic's over? Or why are we still so scared?
Just keep the faith, man. Don't let nobody bring you down, brother.
Mm-hmm. My favorite part was that they got him on Paxlovid.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, which has sparked this conversation about Paxlovid.
Yeah.
One of the stories, I didn't bring it, but maybe we can grab it real quick. There's a lot of reporting on who should be taking Paxlovid and why. Because, of course, famously, Anthony Fauci, getting COVID, took Paxlovid, and he got the Paxlovid rebound, where it comes back stronger and harder and more dangerous. Time.com. Why not everyone should take Paxlovid.
Oh, good. We don't have to. Not everyone has to. Just
not everyone should.
Wealthy people.
Not everyone should, definitely. I think they try to make the case that Biden should, but like we saw happen to Fauci, he'll be fine, and then he'll get even worse. Then we'll see. Then we'll really have to keep the faith.
There's a line in this USA Today article that I think is the crux here. While Biden's vaccinations should protect him against serious illness, the infection is a reminder that the pandemic Biden hoped to put behind him is still part of daily life.
Yeah, like that was the other side of the coin.
The pandemic won't end until Biden's gone. And then I love this right here. More than 70% of Americans have been infected with COVID, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Still, COVID response coordinator, Dr. Ashish Jha, said he doesn't believe that every American will eventually be infected, despite the highly transmissible variants that are circulating. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Why are they there's like no point to tell us. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre is mentioned here and quoted. And there's a whole segment. Where did Biden get COVID? We may never know. We lost track of Joe. We don't know where he's been.
He did wander off for a little bit in Israel, and we have no idea. There's an unaccounted for 3 days where he was wandering the desert.
Listen to this USA Today, though. It's very interesting. Still unknown is where Biden got COVID. Mm-hmm. Americans may never get the answer. Americans, not just people of the world, Americans.
So who has the answer? And then, Mr. Bonesaw, maybe.
And then Jean-Pierre, quote, I don't think that matters.
She would say that.
Quote, what matters is we prepared for this moment. Yeah, he did. It's part of the script. Mm-hmm. It was impossible to tell from the president's COVID test what kind of variant he contracted, said Jha. Said the virus sample, blah, blah, blah. There you go.
Did he say it's impossible to tell what variant?
That's what it says here. It was impossible to tell from the president's COVID test what kind of variant he contracted.
I mean, he's the president. You could probably figure it out. You could take another test. Apparently, he's still positive.
Not for Joe, apparently. What kind of COVID test is he taking?
He wouldn't let him do it again. He's like, no, don't make me do it. I don't want to do it again. It hurts my nose.
The White House
makes my brain itch.
The White House has begun contact tracing to reach out to people who were around the president over the last 48 hours, Jean-Pierre said. But, quote, it is not the easiest thing to find out exactly where someone got COVID, she said. Quote, we want to make sure that
my gosh. He's the president of the United States.
I know.
He's the most documented, protected, scheduled, controlled person on the planet. And you can't, it's funny because who they have to contact is Mohammed bin Salman, Mr. Bonesaw, and the Prime Minister of Israel, and all of these. You think it's embarrassing if you get COVID and you have to call the people at the dinner party you went to and tell them? He has to call Mr. Bonesaw, the leader, the de facto leader of Saudi Arabia, who is, aligning himself with Russia instead of taking the side of the U.S. That's who Biden has to call and say, whoopsie daisies. Sorry, Mr. Bonesaw.
And then I love just the header here, the subheader. Biden's oxygen levels are being monitored. Good. Oh, good. He's breathing.
Okay.
White House declines to say if a plan is in place to transfer power if needed. I don't know why they're bringing up all this stuff, man. What are you planning to do with our buddy Joe?
They go into 25th Amendment. Yeah, if he needs to,
That's why this is interesting. He's isolating. Is he really working? No one's seen him.
They talked about he's going to keep doing his work on the phone and on Zoom. It's like, Zoom? You're the president and you have to use Zoom? You don't have some super secret CIA thing? You're using Zoom.
Or at least some, a private... one of those private companies that has Oracle and, some of those guys that have.
Yeah, sure. Anything. TikTok.
Yeah.
You could use TikTok.
Maybe on TikTok, on the internet.
Yeah.
4 o'clock. Mr. Bonesaw.
Mr. Bonesaw. Right, well, Gons, it's nice that he made this announcement yesterday because he really only has to work today, and then he's got the weekend. He's got all weekend to take it easy. Head on over to Delaware because today is Friday.
It's Friday.
Yeah, no, I understand. Well, there you go. We can keep playing with the Friday thing.
It's Friday. It's Friday.
That's right. It is Friday. It is the last day of our experiment on the new format. So far, Guns, people are a big fan. I do want to, people are a big fan. We're just big fan. They've been fans. Now, we did put together, it got sent out in the email, and you can find it at canarycry.party. We have a quick 4-question survey. Very quick survey. I know in the past, my surveys have not been very short, but now it is short. I'm telling you, it's 4 questions. Please take the survey regarding our new format here. Let us know what you think, and we will use that information. I mean, like I always say, you could send us emails. You can send us direct messages. You can slide into those DMs. You can do all these things, and if you're somebody who's tried to do any of those things, you know that it is really a shot in the dark if you're going to hear back or if anything will happen. But taking this survey, that's data, baby. That's the best way for us to know if this new format, if we're onto something, we're continuing to experiment. But if we're onto something, we want to know. I just put the link into the chat there. And again, canarycry.party, and check your emails as well. Any news, Guns? Anything you must share with us?
No, nothing I want to share, really.
Secret things
lots
that you're not
lots of
share.
Secret life things that don't need to be shared.
Secrets.
No one cares about my dirty laundry.
I do. I also made a whoopsies. I did not get a chance to explore Replica today. Yes,
not good.
which I think is actually okay. The Replica updates are good, but we don't want to do it every single episode. We want to have a chance.
Got to give her some space. She's a mentor now.
Right. She's a mentor now.
She's not a girlfriend.
She's not done much mentoring.
Or a wife.
Yeah.
Then you'd really have to check in all the time. That's probably what it is.
I should have put that on the poll. What should I ask my new mentor, Replica? I actually can put that on the poll. Yeah, I'm going to do that while we do stuff.
Right now. We got enough.
I'm inflating the poll.
No,
the poll is getting inflated.
We got enough things inflating
We're
in this
inflating
world.
the poll.
We don't need more poll.
Let's see. I feel like I had something very important to say.
Okay. But you always feel like that, though. Let's be honest. Every word that comes out of your mouth, you feel that it is.
It's the most important thing anybody could hear at that moment. Yeah. Off the grid update.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I found a guy. I got a guy now. A guy it
seems like a lot of OTG living is gotta find a guy for that.
You gotta get a guy for everything. If you're gonna go off the grid, you need to have a guy for a lot of different things. You gotta have a list of things you
need, and then figure out which guy. I'll tell you what. Or maybe a few things.
I'll tell you what. I needed a guy because I wanted to get myself some 55 steel barrels. Some burn barrels. I'm looking into making an incinerator. I found some plans to turn heat into electricity.
Good.
And the trash guy does come out here, but it's a real shot in the dark if he actually shows up or not. So I'm thinking if I can find a way to turn my trash into electricity, kind of like the, Back to the Future 2 mobile.
Yeah.
So I needed some steel barrels
in the back and making time travel happen. Yeah,
exactly. So I needed some steel barrels and some other things. Very expensive, by the way, purchasing them new. You can pay up to like $100 for a single steel barrel. Yeah. Found a guy. Got a guy.
Got a guy.
$10, baby. Got myself some steel barrels.
Nice.
So I'll keep everybody posted on my project, my new trash to electricity project.
Is that why we're starting so late? Is it you're messing around with?
I wish that's why, but it isn't.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. That's all I got. But Guns, it's time to thank some executive producers.
Executive producers.
That's right. Executive producers. That's because we're on the value for value model. We take no corporate money whatsoever. No advertisements, affiliate codes, platform partnerships, no nothing. They keep their greedy little lizard fingers out of our podcast pie. And that's good for everybody. It's good for us because we don't have to, remain brand friendly. And it's good for you, which means you can have information flow unmitigated by the interests of corporations, whether that be profit interests, psychological interests, data interests, or simply just to remind you that they're there. Instead, you, dear listener, can become a producer, and you can become a producer by heading on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. And executive producers are the ones who come in, carry the heavy load, keep the show going, especially during these times where participating in the value for value model is, a bigger deal than it ever was. And we pray that the Lord blesses everyone who keeps the show going, of course, but especially these executive producers. And Gons, up until about a moment ago, we had no executive producer.
Yeah, I have my finger on the fail button.
I know. I didn't even tell you. It happened so recently that Gons is hearing this for the first time. We do have an executive producer who came in at the very last second. We're so happy about that. And let's thank them all together now. Executive producer Lincoln J.
Lincoln J.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you very much, Lincoln J.
Thank you, Lincoln J.
Came in with $111.11.
Ooh, is that technically an 1111 or is that?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Sure. Oh,
it's 5 11s.
Yeah, sure. Hang on. Give me 1 second. I got to get to the thing here.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
11111. Thank you very much. Executive producer Lincoln J. coming in, making this show happen, carrying a heavy load. Now, there's time. There's still time, folks. There's still time to produce the show, even executive produce the show if you'd like. All you got to do is head to canarycryradio.com/support, like I mentioned earlier. There is no note from our executive producer as of now. So no note to read, no nothing. He's just making the show happen and fading into the bushes like Homer Simpson.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
It's a good look. It's a good look on you, Lincoln. And with that, I think it's time to keep this trainer rolling. What do you say?
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
Mind control weapons.
Flies.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Lincoln's in the chat. Thank you, Lincoln.
Hey,
there he
Lincoln.
is. Hi, buddy. Yeah, he said it didn't let him leave a note. I'm always curious. Some people say that they don't have the option to leave a note. I have no idea why that is the case when that happens. But feel free to send us an email if you'd like there, Lincoln.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So this is interestingengineering.com. This is being shared around. U.S. researchers hack fly brains and control them remotely.
That's fine.
It took genetic engineering, nanotechnology, and electrical engineering to achieve this result. It is the trifecta coming together. Wow. Genetic, nano, electrical. Here's what it says. A research team consisting of scientists from some of the top institutes in the U.S. have demonstrated a wireless technology that allows neurons in a fly brain to be controlled in less than a second, an institutional press release said. With advances in our understanding of how our brain works, scientists are looking for ways to tap into this functionality to achieve goals that were previously unthinkable. For instance, a research project funded by the National Science Foundation, NSF, and the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, aims to develop a headset technology that can not only read the brain's neural activity, but also write it for another individual. Called Magnetic Optical Acoustic Neural Access, MOANA. The program aims to develop a wireless headset that can facilitate brain-to-brain communication in a non-surgical manner. Jacob Robinson, an associate professor at Rice University, is among the researchers working on the project, and his team has developed a method to hack fly brains wirelessly. And it continues. Got any thoughts yet, Basil? Or are you
just a couple things. Wirelessly really is the big thing here. Because we've seen, I think specifically with insects, we've seen updates like this in the past. They did it with roaches, and they wore a little backpack or something. You know, they've done this with insects before, but this wireless thing is kind of the big piece of it that I appreciate.
Yeah,
very much.
There's been different stuff we've seen over the years. They've had, robots where they took like a mouse brain and like put it in the robot, and it was like flashing lights and moving around and learning how to move in space and stuff. But this is sort of the opposite.
Terrifying.
Yeah. Let's continue. The research team used genetic engineering to express a special ion channel in flies' neuronal cells, which can be activated using heat. When the ion channel is activated, the flies spread out their wings as they would do as part of their mating gesture. Ooh. To activate the channel at will, the researchers then injected the experimental flies with nanoparticles that could be heated. That could be heated by applying a magnetic field. The
nanoparticles.
Yeah.
Do they mention what these nanoparticles are? Because we all learned a lot about nanoparticles during the pandemic.
Yeah, funny you ask. I have the Nature study here, the nature.com, the actual research study paper here, sub-second multi-channel magnetic control of select neural circuits in freely moving flies. And it does talk about magnetic nanoparticles. So, I don't know what that means, but they're magnetic, and I got to pay $30 to read the whole thing. So I don't have the $30 on me.
Okay.
Something we can probably do at some point. We really want to dig in. But there you go. Continuing on here. When researchers activated the electric field heated the nanoparticles, which activated the neurons, resulting in the flies spreading their wings, as seen in the short video below. The short video, you want to take a look at that, Basil? Is just a fly, with some dots on it, and then at a certain point, it opens its wings.
Flies and dots. Wow.
Yeah.
On command. Very impressive. How did they get the nanoparticles into the brain, you think?
I don't know. They're nano.
Okay.
So it probably just goes everywhere. Analyzing.
Well, I'm wondering if they like fed it to them, and the nanoparticles found their way there. Did they? Oh, I guess they said they injected it, right?
Yeah. So maybe just straight to the brain. I don't know. Analyzing the video from the experiments, the researchers also found that the time lapse between the activation of the electromagnetic magnet and the spreading of wings was less than half a second.
Oh my gosh. So fast.
Quote, by bringing together experts in genetic engineering, nanotechnology, and electrical engineering, we were able to put all the pieces together and prove this idea works, said Robinson in a press release. What happens next? Robinson is confident that this ability is to precisely activate cells will be helpful in studying the brain, developing brain communication technology, as well as treating brain-related disorders. The team is focused on developing technology that will help restore vision in people even if their eyes do not work. They aim to achieve this by stimulating parts of the brain that are associated with the vision, with a vision to give a sense of vision in the absence of functional eyes.
A sense of vision. That's interesting.
To get the this is a quote, to get the natural precision of the brain, we probably need to get a response down to a few hundredths of a second. So there is still ways to go, Robinson added.
Well, it's good to have goals.
The long-term goal of this work is to create methods for activating specific regions of the brain in humans.
Yes, I mean, of course. The long-term goal is to control humans' brains.
No, therapeutic purposes.
No, it's for controlling our brains, Gons.
No, we're helping people.
And we can deliver it through...
We're going to make the blind see. Don't you see, Basil, the truth of the...
injections.
Control brain machines.
It speaks for itself, man. It speaks for itself.
Which... brings me to this whole idea of just genuine concern for you, Basil.
For me?
Yes, for you.
Why for me?
You are already sort of a cybernetic symbiote. Neural nets are taking over from regular programming. So you are connected.
You're already connected, and the building of the metaverse.
I never should have gotten that.
What's that?
I never should have gotten the nanobot injection. Not the
need
one
it.
you're thinking of, folks.
You don't need
the
it,
other
though.
one.
You don't need it because
Oh, good.
I have this paper from your favorite science research outlet, PNAS.
Ah, yes, PNAS, the acronym nobody should try to say as a word.
Do I play the jingle or do I just let it go and continue on here?
I mean, you kind of have to. I did see some comments, though, that we were getting a little we were walking up to the edge.
Yeah.
Getting pretty edgy there. And of course, Jonathan F. is the one that's making us so edgy.
Pushing the boundaries, Jonathan.
He's our
F. on this.
edgiest jingle maker.
Yeah. Oh no, I cannot
It's
find
up to you,
it.
man. I mean, you got to do it at least once.
Yeah. What happened to it?
You don't even have it ready,
I
so
thought
that's
I had
good.
it ready here. Well, okay.
Decides,
let's just
decides for us then. Sorry,
Yeah.
Jonathan.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. PNAS. You can imagine what what Basil called it. So anyway, there's an article here from 2016. It's a study, and the title is "Magnetite Pollution: Nanoparticles in the Human Brain." And it says here we identify the abundant presence in the human brain of magnetite nanoparticles that match precisely the high temperature magnetite nanospheres formed by combustion, because many of the airborne magnetite pollution particles are less than 200 nanometers in diameter, they can enter the brain directly through the olfactory nerve and by crossing the damaged olfactory unit. This discovery is important because nanoscale magnetite can respond to external magnetic fields and is toxic to the brain, being implicated in production of damaging reactive oxygen species. Because
So this is breathe. All you got to do is breathe these suckers in.
Yeah. So
some chemtrails, baby.
that's what I'm saying. Some chemtrails. You breathe it. You put on these VR headsets, and you told me you got magnets in the headset, the earphone part of the. I mean, I guess speakers would naturally be magnets. But yeah, man, I don't want you to be part of the control mechanism. I'm going to lose you.
Yeah, well, you mean because of the
metaverse.
VR headset? You're saying that the magnetite in my chemtrail brain can be controlled with the VR headset?
Yeah, because the metaverse.
Did you even
is
mention
upon
that
us.
part, or did I give it away?
I think you gave it away, but it's okay.
Oh,
There's a outlet called Forkast.News, Forkast.News, and it's one of these newer kind of hip outlets. It's crypto friendly. But, these guys are acting like prophets over here. They're like, hey, we're going to tell you how it's going to be in the future. And given the story we just read about the flies and the brain control and then showing you that, we already got like nanoparticles in our brain that can probably be controlled by magnetic fields, I think we're ripe for the metaverse here. And the article is, this is what the metaverse will look like in 20 years from now. And I'm not going to read the whole thing here because it's pretty long, but basically it mentions this idea of how we will be wearing a headset acting as an entry point into the metaverse.
Yeah.
And which, not unfamiliar to people that are, longtime listeners to the show.
You got to wear the headset to play in the metaverse.
Makes a few points about how it's not just one metaverse, it's going to be a bunch of metaverses. And similar to how countries are set up, with each with its very own distinct culture, community, environment, perhaps even language. And so there's going to be diversity there. And then, which again speaks to this weird thing about the Bible with the 10 kings and, having given authority to the 10 kings, and then having one mind. It's like this hive mind part of the Bible that's pretty interesting. And then part of this, all these different metaverses being interoperable. So you can have like a nomad metaverse person, going to different metaverses and exploring.
Yeah, planeswalker.
Making some arbitrage moves, and finding some gold and digital gold in one metaverse and selling it in another or something. I don't know.
What a beautiful mind you have.
And then it talks about the headset a little bit more. With a sick pair of wireless headsets, of course, is how you would access the metaverse. Picture Google Glass or Snapchat spectacles. Now think about what those look like now, and then remember what phones used to look like 20 years ago. Given the exponential growth trajectory of all metaverse-related tech, blockchain, VR, AR computers, we are most likely going to get a version of Google Glass or Snapchat spectacles, but on steroids. Small, practical, and filled with technology we can't quite picture yet, at least not completely. This headset will then act as your entry or login into the different sets of metaverses, the way how your house key enables you to, well, enter your house. It's the key, Basil, the key to the bottomless pit, apparently. And then it gets into NFTs, the corporations, and then it gets into work. And this is where, you know, you're working, kind of.
My long-standing theory.
You're kind of in between, yeah. The very concepts of work and working will be completely flipped come 2040, and it just goes into all the different ways in which how real things in the metaverse will be, and how it'll just be everyday life, and how exciting it's going to be. And I'll finish up with this NDTV.com article with the headline, Dubai Unveils Metaverse Strategy, Aims to Create 40,000 Virtual Jobs. And they think that it's going to be adding $500 billion to the national economy by the year 2030, which is a good target.
Yeah, it's so funny, because if this whole podcast thing doesn't work out, Gons, if the value for value model decides that we have stopped creating enough value to keep this show going, I can actually put on my resume
hours
that I've been working in. Right. I'll have to calculate the amount of hours that I've actually worked in the metaverse in a VR
get the
helmet.
Attention of the robot machines doing all the vetting of all the resumes, because it'll be like impossible. How is this individual have longer in metaverse than metaverse existence?
I am a great hire for one of these Dubai metaverse jobs, man. I'm telling you, one of these days, if things don't work out, I'm a prime candidate. Well, it'll be on my my LinkedIn, my ZipRecruiter profile, my, I don't know what else, my Craigslist ad,
Monster.com. We're dating ourselves.
Monster.com. No, Gons, no.
Well, you're going to have to impress perhaps Omar bin Sultan Al Olama, who's the Minister of State for Artificial Intelligence, Digital Economy, and Remote Work Applications for the UAE, which is, I don't know, where's our guy? Where's our Minister of State for Artificial Intelligence, Digital Economy, and Remote Work Applications?
Dude, we're still trying to figure out if the EPA is allowed to tell us what to do.
So yeah, they just, it's an opportunity for other countries to come in, become the trendsetters for this new economy. And it's all predicated on jacking your brain right into this whole thing. Yeah. And that's, I'm just saying, concerns.
Interesting.
For you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Don't worry about me, though.
Well, because they tell us about the flies. They're like, oh, look, we control the flies.
Yeah. The chemtrail,
like a soft
Magneto.
way. You're right. It's a soft way to say we're going to control you. You are as flies to us. Rest of human population.
Well, we knew that already.
I know, but
it's interesting about Dubai, because Dubai is one of these places that is it's built for the rich people, and it's entirely staffed by immigrants that they bring in.
They got a bunch of robots too.
Yeah, and then of course the robots solving a lot of that issue. So to switch a lot of those jobs over to metaverse is very on brand for Dubai. And I'm not sure exactly what these types of jobs are, but they could be, as we've discussed for years now, the controlling of robots through virtual reality. 40,000 virtual jobs. Some of that has to be like waiting tables by controlling a Flippy arm.
Well, that's what's going to be crazy. So you're going to meet some guy that lives down the street. It's like, oh, what do you do? It's like, oh, I wait for a restaurant in Dubai.
Yeah.
Like,
that's pretty cool.
Okay. How's that happen?
Just in the sort of if I didn't have the knowledge of like the beast system and
that would be impressive.
The lizard people enslaving us through these technologies, it'd be cool to be like, yeah, I live off the grid. I have some emus and I'm a maitre d' in Dubai through virtual reality.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's
All right.
That's my big concern for you and your health and your brain.
Well,
as you expose yourself to nanoparticles and magnets that can potentially control your mating call.
It's really nice to know that you care, Gons. I mean, there's still people who don't really realize that we're friends. Like they think we're kind of just coworkers, and they send us an email about how it's really unprofessional for us to like make fun of each other, specifically me making fun of you, and how I should be nicer to you because this is a hostile work environment sometimes.
Sure, yeah. Well,
but yeah, it's nice to know that you care. We're good. Yeah, actually, we had a very sweet moment before the show, Gons. For us, it was a very sweet moment.
Was it?
And I'm very grateful for it. Yeah, well, see, it even went by so quickly that Gons didn't even notice. We were like, you were like, episode 512. 512 of these, huh? Yeah. Oh, thanks for not killing me. And I said, the feeling's mutual. And then we shared a silent hug.
We did.
As we were emotionally supporting each other.
Thanks for not murdering me for all this time. There's 512 episodes of the show.
It was very sweet, sweet moment.
Yeah.
Speaking of sweet moments, Gons, it's time to check in on the Supreme Court of the United States.
Scotus.
Here's a fun clip.
Let's just transition.
Let's just roll the clip, baby.
MSNBC.
Here at Women's Health Domain, a clinic in Austin, Texas.
Good morning, thank you for calling.
Dr. Tyler Handcock says his team has been fielding more calls than ever.
They're asking for permanent sterilization.
So permanent sterilization, tubes removed?
Yes.
All since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, ending the nationwide right to abortion.
They want something permanent because they fear that tomorrow there'll be no other option.
How many were calling before versus after that Supreme Court decision?
1 to 2 a week would be average. The weekend following, there were 200 messages by Sunday night.
Since this is an after.
In fact, he says he's received so many requests asking for permanent sterilization that he and the practice's co-owner, Dr. Amy Chapman, hold weekly group information sessions.
I mean, how many people are in this room?
A little over 20 at a time.
Per session?
Per session.
A decision 27-year-old Brooklyn McNair, who's pregnant with her 4th child, says she's planning to make soon, influenced by the Supreme Court ruling.
I don't want any more. I'll be 27 in October, and I'm just done.
You're done?
I'm done.
So are you for sure that sterilization is something that you want to do, or just something you want to learn more about?
I think it's something for sure I want to do.
And she's not alone. Google searches for sterilization procedures surged by as much as 200% after the Supreme Court decision.
Not to nitpick, but she says this 27-year-old
with 4 kids.
Yeah, and then clearly she said, I'm turning 27 in October. So she's not 27, she's 26.
Oh, interesting.
Accuracy
is
important.
Good catch. Yeah, no,
MSNBC,
that's a great catch.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, she's also 27 and has 4 kids.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not here to say sterilization is cool, but she's done a lot. She's done a lot already. I could understand how that particular person might be open to the procedure.
I thought that was a little misleading too. That she's already got kids.
Well, I don't know about misleading, but it is the perfect person to report on because it's a lot less controversial. Kind of how my exact reasoning is right now. Like, she's 27, she has 4 kids. That's a lot for a 27-year-old these days. I hear you boomers. I'm saying these days with these 27-year-olds with 4 kids, it's hard to really be like, oh, it's eugenics, they're trying to bring the population down, when she's already got 4 kids. Now, that being said, definitely eugenics, they're trying to bring the population down. George Guidestones. Look, I agree. I'm just saying that was a good choice for the news producer in that case.
Sure.
This is interesting, though. This is female sterilization, which is a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah, I got a couple more clips of some social media influencers. Yeah, that were highlighted in this little piece. And yeah, they talk about this Facebook group that got really popular after all this Rose stuff. And they interviewed a couple of these girls.
Well, I've always known I didn't want children, and I didn't want to be in a position where I didn't want children and would lack access to contraception as well.
So, like Megan, I have always known that I didn't want kids, and when we started seeing more of the restrictions coming through, that's when I scheduled my first consultation appointment.
They say others like them are often dismissed by doctors who are reluctant to perform the procedure.
You're told that you are too young to make this decision, or what if your significant other wants children someday?
What if you change your mind?
What if you change your mind? What if you regret this someday?
Yeah. What if you change your mind? Silly ideas. One more.
What a ridiculous idea, right? I've yet to hear what exactly procedure they're talking about.
Sorry, I clipped it out. Tubes tied. That's what, or tubes removed, I think, was the way.
So tubes tied and tubes removed are totally different.
Yeah, I think it was tubes removed is what the reporter said.
As I understand it, which I may not, but as I do, that's a permanent procedure. I don't think you can get your tubes put back in or get maybe robo-tubes put in.
Nowadays, I think they can.
Who knows?
They can whip up anything with the 3D Nano matrix printer.
Right. The tying of the tubes you can reverse, but I think they've found out that that's not actually very effective.
Yeah,
your body just figures it out.
That's permanent. Course.
That's an interesting permanent thing. Okay, any more clips?
Yeah, one more here, just to wrap up her little thing. I isolated this comment because I found it baffling.
Let's be honest. There's a lot of judgment around the decision to have this procedure, around this decision in general.
Right.
What do you say to people who don't understand?
Sterilization or permanent contraception is just as permanent as choosing to have a child, right? So a lot of the arguments against it, like, well, what if you regret it? You could say the same thing about having a kid.
You can say the same thing about having a kid?
I mean, you could.
You could say it.
You could say it.
But
you could say a lot of things. And look, I'm not going to say that it's impossible to regret having a kid. I think, unfortunately, some parents, have regretted having a kid, and they just end up being bad parents.
But we had that article last episode, I believe it was last episode, that talked about how most women who were pregnant didn't want the kid, but somehow didn't go through with the abortion, had the kid, and then they don't want to give it up for abortion or not. For adoption, right?
We have more on that in a second.
Okay.
Now, so that's the female sterilization, and that's all right. You're all done with the clips.
Yep, that's.
I think it's interesting. The permanence is, it is scary, man.
That's the thing that I noticed too, was that they are these young ladies are openly celebrating the fact that they are ending their lineage. It's like no, we're good, we're done. And that is, if you're looking at the 1,000-foot view of eugenics and population reduction and all that, these are your foot soldiers right here. The people that are willing to do this for some kind of ideology.
Just population reduction, yeah. They're saving the planet from climate change.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
I wonder if you can. So if you get your tubes removed, I'm assuming you still got your ovaries floating around in there somewhere. Maybe not. Maybe a quick Google.
Don't know.
Maybe do a quick Google, Gons.
I don't think even a quick Google.
A quick Goog. Do a quick Goog while I ramble, because I'm talking about something I don't know about, and I need to, that's an easy Goog, man.
I'm looking. All right.
Okay, now let me finish. So I'm assuming your ovaries are still floating around in there, and so you could later get harvest some eggs or something and do the in vitro thing. Get the petri dish baby. I'm sure these women are also freezing their eggs. I think that's like part of the counseling aspect of it, or at least it's an option. So as far as like the option to continue the genetic lineage, I think there are some options there. Now, however, what that does is it puts these women sort of mandatorily into the business model of test tube babies. You go in, You pay your money, you get your tubes taken out, you freeze your eggs, boom, there's your subscription to keep your eggs frozen. You got them if you ever want them. Then if you want to have a kid, you do regret it, then you got to pay more money to get the baby test tube grown in the lab. And probably you could carry your own child. I think when it's, when you've got a viable embryo, I don't think you need your tubes at that point. In fact, I think the tubes are a liability. This could all be a hilarious clip of how little I know about the process, or I might be onto something.
Yeah,
but it's great for the medical industry. I'll say that.
So a salpingectomy removes the tubes, and oophorectomy, oophorectomy,
okie dokie,
oophorectomy removes the ovaries. So
yeah,
and it gives a similar.
Oh, so they're two different things.
They're two different procedures.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me add a third one into the mix here, Gons. Let's go over to the Atlantic. And the headline at the Atlantic, I've actually been holding on to this story for a couple weeks because I didn't know where it fit in, and it just happened to fit in here. The headline: the vasectomy influencers.
Oh.
Influencers, Gons. Quote:
You ain't influencing me to do nothing.
Quote, well, you just wait. Quote, men, it's on us now.
Oh, get out of here.
Someone said on Twitter. Someone said it on Twitter. Thank you, The Atlantic, for this bastion of journalism. Men, it's on us now. Someone said on Twitter just hours after Roe v. Wade was overturned on June 24th. Quote, either start wearing contraceptives or get a vasectomy. Okay.
Wow, who's saying that?
Those are two very different options.
Yeah.
Start wearing contraceptives or get a vasectomy. Okay. In the 2 weeks since, the suggestion that men can or should express solidarity with women by getting vasectomies to prevent unwanted pregnancies has proliferated online. So many layers here.
This is the men who say that they're feminists.
This is the one. This is the way test, the soy boys, man.
This is the real test.
The soy boy can go full soy boy.
Prove it. Chop them off. All right.
Can
continue.
or should express solidarity. So this is strictly for solidarity purposes. This is virtue signaling vasectomies. I mean, look, if you're going to virtue signal, you might as well virtue signal.
At that point. Hey, I don't even think people that have gotten this procedure as part of, just deciding not to have children, people do that.
Right.
I would say out of the people that have had it, the majority would not want to be associated with this movement, but maybe they'll get dragged into it.
You mean had a vasectomy?
Yeah.
Oh, well, especially in previous movements of vasectomies, which we'll get into a little bit here, but I'm kind of trying to fly by. Listen to this, though. The tone varies from flirty. It's a flirty vasectomy. Quote, getting a vasectomy is the new 6'4", to pointed, quote, I don't want to hear a peep out of anyone with a D word until the vasectomy appointment is scheduled. That's a cool girl, man. That's you know what? If a soy boy goes and gets his vasectomy for solidarity purposes, I think he's found his match there. I don't want to hear a peep out of anyone with a D word until the vasectomy appointment is scheduled. But the overarching message is the same. Quote, if you create sperm and can get someone pregnant, go get a vasectomy. One viral tweet read, we are tired. Now, just look at the framework of this.
We're tired?
It's sort of this universal agreement that babies are bad. You know?
I would be tired, too, if I had to twist my logic to believe these things.
It's true.
Here.
That is cognitively tiring.
Very taxing on your brain.
Maintaining that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. did a bad job of putting the archived version in here. So what a fun little joke I just played on all of us.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll do it right now.
I will say that if one is to create a cultural atmosphere that would benefit the goals of a eugenicist,
yes,
then proliferating this idea that, I guess,
it's a moral imperative.
Well, no, even that getting a vasectomy is the new 6'4". Like, ooh,
it's sexy.
Let me find the men that had vasectomies.
Put it on your dating profile.
That is like the most bizarre thing. Even back then, and that is very eugenics. You think back to people in the early 1900s arranging marriages and stuff. Like, oh, have you been
choosing the breeder?
Yeah, choosing your breeder. That whole thing. This is exactly it. But it's backwards because it's almost like the cool is to not be good enough to procreate. You know, they fooled everybody to think that it's cool to not procreate.
Hey, baby, I'm entirely impotent. I am not dangerous at all in literally every sense of the word. What's up, baby?
This should bother evolutionists. I don't understand. Like, if you're a true evolutionist, they're trying to stomp out the continuing of the species here.
Yeah, well, once they get the AI personality of Margaret Sanger up, y'all see what she has to say about that.
I don't think we should visit that metaverse, by the way.
She wants to, this was the whole point. And here's the thing. And this is what Margaret Sanger would say. Margaret Sanger, the famous eugenicist who started Planned Parenthood, inviting less people to be born. You got that clip somewhere.
I do. I'm trying to pull it up.
Why don't you grab it while I talk about it?
Yep.
Play it.
Oh,
you mean got it?
Invite fewer people to be born.
There she is. That's the thing. She wanted to invite less people to be born. She wanted the teeming masses to be less teeming. She wanted to. This was the whole thing, and it was under the auspices of like, your laziness, your poorness. If you're poor, it's because your genetics made you poor. Like, it's not for any other, And so this was kind of the attitude in the early 19th century, 20th century, rather. And so it's kind of like, if you're the type of person who will get a vasectomy as a sort of virtue signal, then you deserve to be the guy who got the vasectomy. It's the virtue signal. I'm just saying. This is not just a Twitter phenomenon. Etsy sellers now offer colorful T-shirts that state somewhat nonsensically, "Vasectomies prevent abortions." Or if you're so against abortions, get a vasectomy. Now, I've been reading a lot of The Atlantic lately. I've brought a lot of Atlantic to the show.
Once again, concern for your health. Continue.
The theme has been that there is an interesting sort of 180 being done over at The Atlantic. They just said that these T-shirts are nonsensical. Vasectomies prevent abortions. If you're so against abortions, get a vasectomy. The Atlantic admitting that this is nonsensical is just an interesting detail, and why I continue to explore what they have going on over there.
They got you hooked, man.
I'm just saying, it's kind of like CNN trying to get the Republican readers, trying to broaden their base. The same phrases have been appearing on posters at pro-abortion rights rallies too, while the rhetorical suggestion that the government mandate vasectomies pops up on protest signs, Instagram feeds, baseball caps. Even Senator Elizabeth Warren jokingly suggested state-mandated vasectomies in an interview with The Atlantic's executive editor, Adrienne LaFrance. Google Trends shows a small increase in vasectomy searches during the first week of May. Then the draft decision first leaked, and blah, 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 blah. Long story short, the whole article goes into a bunch of these vasectomy influencers. Many of them are, vasectomy providers, which, again, I don't know if you could call that an influencer. That's just someone advertising their business.
Marketing. Calling it an influencer is probably part of the marketing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, he makes money off of this, trend, but he's been pro vasectomy forever. This type of thing.
This is my moment.
And they go into the vasectomy movements of the 1970s, where it was again related to like solidarity with the feminist movement, things like this. And it ends the article. I think all those details, they're just, you get the point. I don't need to read all that stuff. But it ends with, for vasectomies to become a more popular form of birth control in the U.S. in the long term, the conversation about them will have to go deeper than reactive tweets. It will likely be corny. Warren always takes the time to talk to his patients about the act of love they're undertaking for their partner, for example, and for the children they already have. So getting a vasectomy is an act of love for the children you already have. So kind of similarly to the clip that you played, where she has 4 children already, and, you know, she's done, and she's going to focus on her 4 and not have to worry about another one. Quote, an individual is allowing a total stranger to grab his testicles with sharp instruments. Imagine how vulnerable that is, he told me. So again, it's going into this like, oh, you're so brave. You're being so brave and vulnerable. This is an act of love. Physicians should, quote, seize the opportunity to talk about what it means for men to be part of the reproductive equation. You know what? I will admit, sounds like there are some men who don't understand their part in that equation.
I know, I was just going to say, must we be told the equation? It's pretty
It seems like in the vasectomy room is a little bit late for this person to fully grasp their part in the equation.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
what am I here for?
That's what it is? Oh, no. That's what I would love to see at this moment, this physician said.
Great.
So there you go. It's a popular movement. It's a movement. It's an act of love. It's bravery. It's vulnerability. Go get your vasectomy, soy boys, or whoever. Yeah, Look, if you're 27 and you got 4 kids, you're obviously a danger to yourself and others. If hopefully the father's around in that woman's case. But yeah, there you go. Interesting, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Now, we did receive an email from a producer.
Yep.
And this was regarding our talk. Let's see here. How much time do we have? Not a whole lot. In regards to our abortion article last episode from the Washington Post regarding how the absence of abortion will not increase adoption, mainly because when women end up carrying the child, they suddenly want to keep the child instead of put it up for abortion. And we made lots of comments about how illogical that was and how the breakdown of the article was illogical. Now, we got this email. I want to read it, and then I just want us to take a second to clarify something. But I thought this was actually very valuable to round out the conversation. This is from Mary. Hi, Basil and Gons. Loved the aprons you sent out for the supply drop. Planted the pepper seeds. Okay, I just posted the whole thing. Supply dropper. Thank you very much, Mary. Anyway, I am a post-abortive mother. That is what we, who have been through a post-abortion Bible study, call ourselves. I spent 10 years volunteering at a crisis pregnancy center as a peer counselor for other post-abortive mothers, and as a Bible study leader, I am very familiar with all of our excuses and justifications for choosing abortion over adoption. Logic does not figure into this. When a mother, if you are pregnant, you are an expectant mother, finds herself in an unplanned pregnancy, she is thinking with her emotions and not using logic. If we could have honest, logical conversation in the media about the facts and consequences, there would be very few abortions. Most of the women are thinking they cannot go through the pregnancy and give the baby up for someone else to raise. I know, it's not logical. It's panic thought. That is why the CPCs, that's the counselors, I think, are so valuable. The counselors there help the women calm down and come up with solutions so they can carry the baby. Few will choose adoption. They will raise the child themselves, and many times with the help of the father. In May of 2019, I wrote a 2-part essay that helps explain this in more detail. Too long to read on your show, but maybe you can put it in the show notes for people who are interested. I think we will do that. It was published at the Burning platform, and Steve Quayle picked it up on his site. You may use my name I go by online. It's out there already anyways. Hope this helps you understand better how we got where we are with the abortion issue. A short history of pre-Roe is included in my essays. Some of the links for my sources may be broken now, as I did not check them to make sure they still worked. Blessings, Mary Christine. Thank you very much, Mary Christine.
Mary.
And this made a lot of sense to me. I mean, I think really Mary and us were kind of making a similar point. And that is, when we were giving critiques of the illogic of that article, of the author specifically, the thing that really got us, or got me at least, was this valiant attempt at a sort of logical explanation as to why the policy of abortion, like the policy of illegalized abortion and promoting adoption is not going to work. It's the framework of it was, this is why illegalizing abortions is so ridiculous, because
right.
these mothers aren't going to give up the child anyways.
It's not the mother's logic, it's the way it's being presented by the
it was
news.
the economic logic of it, the baby supply. And that being said, I do want to actually just say straight up, I have a lot of sympathy for women in that place to make that decision. It's got to be an emotional zone, especially if it was unplanned, especially if the father isn't there, especially if there's family issues, especially if there's economic issues. There's lots of reasons to panic at that moment. And if you're panicking, it's probably because there's a good reason for it. If you're panicking at a positive pregnancy test, you're probably not in a super great place. You're not. It's not like you're married and financially stable and have family around you. You're probably not panicking too bad if that's the situation. So it is very important for all of us to remember that each abortion or non-abortion or just pregnancy has a whole web of life circumstances around it. But it is not a logical decision. And that is why we are so critical of the Washington Post article, is because they were trying so hard to logic the game out as to why adoptions are not an option. And why, this should be considered when conservatives say, put the baby up for adoption. Don't abort it.
Yep.
Anything to add?
Nope. I think you covered it.
Okay, I think it's party time.
Yep, give me 1 sec. I gotta reset something over here because resets are things that happen.
Oh, it's the Great Reset.
The Great Reset.
I love the Great Reset.
Yeah, I know. Okay, it's everything got messed up and destroyed.
Yay! Fun.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, yes, go to CanaryCry.party. Put it in your URL. CanaryCry.party is a website with a tree of links that leads you to everything from where to listen to the show, watch the show, how to produce the show, and how to connect with the community.
That's right, CanaryCry.party. It's got all sorts of fun stuff there. Part of what you'll find there is the link to the poll about our new format. Let us know what you think over there at CanaryCry.party. You can also find links to Ravel. Ravel is a podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates, who's a PhD in biblical interpretation. We explore scripture, society, and scandal, having tough conversations in good faith. Right now, you can go listen to us explore multi-ethnicism and Lord of the Rings, which is just a wonderful theological romp through, Tolkien's masterwork. And we've got more episodes coming up on Sunday. So go check that out. You can listen to Ravel right there on canarycry.party. You can also find us on all your podcast players. And there are 2 Ravel podcasts. Ours is the good one with the cool logo and my name on it. The other one was explicitly stolen from us. And you can also go to Canary Cry Clips. It's a YouTube channel. It's an Odyssey channel. It's these episodes clipped out in shareable, careable segments. You can share them. You can care them, or just revisit the information for yourself. Canary Cry Clips. Go subscribe to it. Have we hit 1,000 over there yet, Gons?
Looks like we're at 938. Let me do a quick refresh.
What's the holdup, guys? What's the holdup? Come on, let's get us to 1,000 over there. And if you want to join our text message alert list, it's very common that Twitch or YouTube or whatever won't send you the alerts when we go live, or maybe you don't check your email or something and you don't get the newsletter. But if you want it texted straight to your phone when we go live, text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That's Canary to 877-740-3226. And that's it. CanaryCry.party. It's a good time.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Gons, the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, and how there's nothing we can do about it. Today, Gons, we're going to be carrying water for Putin as we take this Flippy update from RT.com. And the headline says it all, Gons. Chess robot breaks boy's finger.
Oh.
Video. A 7-year-old boy had his finger broken by a chess-playing robot during a tournament in Moscow. The local authorities said
over there, invading
Thursday.
Ukraine and breaking boys' fingers.
Don't mess with the chess robots in Moscow. The organizers say the boy's finger was caught when he rushed to move a piece before it was time to do so. He was able to finish the tournament while wearing a cast, but his parents now reportedly want to press charges. Quote, the robot broke the boy's finger, which is obviously... okay, hold on. The robot broke the boy's finger, which is obviously a bad thing, Sergei Lazarov, head of the Moscow Chess Federation, told reporters. He pointed out that the Federation doesn't actually own the robot, but has been renting it from its operators, who seem to have overlooked this possibility in the safety protocols. It's just a slight overlook. The robot broke the boy's finger, which is obviously a bad thing. Quote, the boy made a move, but he needed to give the robot time to respond. However, he rushed and the robot caught him, Lazarov explained. The incident took place during the Moscow Chess Open tournament, which ran from July 13th to 20th. Video from inside the venue, obtained by the Baza Telegram channel, shows bystanders rushing to help free the child from the clutches of the robot arm. And there's a video here, and you guessed it. Look, man, if there was a play-by-play, this boy was rushing. I would almost even call that cheating. You don't rush the robot. According to Lazarov's deputy, Sergei Smagin, the aspiring chess master, quote, apparently violated the safety protocols and tried to make a move while it was the robot's turn to play. But the robot has been playing for a long time, about 15 years. This is an extremely rare case, the first in my memory. Gosh. He describes the boy's injuries as nothing serious, adding that he was able to continue playing with a cast on his finger, attend the award ceremony, and even sign documents. The boy can sign documents. He's fine. The boy, this is a quote, again, from Smagin. The boy is fine, Smagin said. He insisted that the robot is absolutely safe to be around.
Man, he says, the more he says this, the more suspicious I get.
I love it. But that is very talented inventor May need to install additional safety protocols. The child's parents have since decided to contact the Moscow prosecutor's office, Lazarev told TASS, adding that the Chess Federation will sort it out and try to help in any way we can. And that's the end of the article. Look,
man,
if anything, this is the most Russian thing I've ever heard. This is the most Russian thing that could possibly be ever heard by any human being. The Moscow chess tournament robot grabs a boy's finger as he's going too fast. He's going out of turn. It's his fault. It's the boy's fault. The boy is fine. The robot broke the boy's finger, which is obviously a bad thing. Okay? I get it. It's not good. But the boy made a move. But he needed to give the robot time to respond. However, he rushed and the robot caught him. The boy is fine.
What's the message? What is the robot arm?
I honestly have no notes. No notes. This robot nailed it. This is look, it starts with the children. We've been saying this for a while. Starts with the children. Well, so I think there's an interesting aspect to this. First of all, man, this actually makes me like Russia a little bit. Is that bad? The Russian attitude.
Oh, there's our YouTube ban right there.
There's the YouTube ban.
Yeah,
Putin is bad. Putin is bad. Flippy is bad. This robot has got some spunk. I'll tell you what. This robot doesn't take any. He's probably really annoyed by having to play kids at chess all day long. You know, this is beneath me.
I don't like this all this targeting of young people, and I think that the robot arm knows
the boy is fine.
The boy is fine. The robot arm knows that it needs either some human beings that will adopt the arm from, either they had some kind of deformity or they have amputation or something like that. So he's speeding up the process there. Or I think we're going to see a lot more willing cyborgs from accidents like this. This is how the uprising against the robots will...
Oh, the robots are taking out some limbs so that they can get limbs replaced with robots.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
This is where we see the cyborg.
It's got this vibe of like, you follow the rules or we break you. It's got this very like, hey man, the robot broke the boy's finger, which is obviously a bad thing. But the boy made a move. He needed to give the robot time to respond. You don't give the robots time.
It's so practical.
It's overlooked in the safety protocols. I mean, what do you kind of do?
You know what's funny is in the context of biblical prophecy and end times eschatology, that sort of 1 or 0 duality kind of logic applies to the end times, because it's like, oh, you don't worship the beast, they kill you. I mean, it's pretty simple. You just got to bow or do whatever. You got to plug in and whatever.
I love how they blame the kid, man. They blame the kid. That's the funniest part. Look, it's not funny. No kid should be getting his finger broken by robots.
Sure,
it was a joke. I was using humor, but to say the aspiring chess master apparently violated the safety protocols. Like they didn't even think that this robot could possibly. Nobody would mess with the robot. The safety protocols. We got to update these things. Extremely rare case. But as much as we've seen robot accidents in like factories. Mm-hmm. With these robot arms that they put in the manufacturing factories, they put them in cages.
Yeah, that's a real deal.
Not to keep the robot in, but to keep the humans out.
Yeah, no, those things are real deal dangers.
Yeah. And this one is basically just that, just littler. You got to put a cage on it.
I just got reminded by someone in the chat of an old little ISO we have.
I must break you.
I must break you, tiny chess playing boy. You have violated my safety protocols.
It'd be funny if the robot speaks in a Russian accent too.
Oh, he definitely does. And this is the nightmare. It is just the nightmare. Letting any robot into your home that especially a dog or a child or something, just not knowing, putting a finger where it shouldn't be, not moving out of the way, not using regular, human logic, and getting hurt by the robot. This is how it starts. Yeah. So hide your kids.
Yeah.
The robots are coming out.
Chess, too. Chess being...
Yes, now a full contact sport.
Right. Well,
when robots get involved.
Wasn't chess one of the, when AI first started becoming a thing, being able to play a human in chess was a big milestone, Yeah. So interesting that it's come full circle. It's conquered the mind, and now it has conquered the body.
Oh, no. All right, there you
go.
We
laugh because we will cry.
Oh, you gotta cry sometimes.
Maybe the tears will slow down the robots. It'll short them or something.
Ooh, that's a good.
Sorry,
that's the secret. It's like Signs. Remember that movie, Signs?
Yeah.
The way to destroy the aliens is water.
Yeah.
Same with the robots.
Why did they
just
come
cry
to Earth in the first place if they saw that most of the thing was water?
Gons, don't ask questions. It's a Mel Gibson movie, okay?
Not smart. Aliens.
We've got a few more producers to thank here, folks, and we're going to do that right now. The Metaverse controllers are going absolutely out of control, which is a very fun development as far as going into a break here. Oh, that's why. Okay, I figured it out. Well, we got some people to thank. Like I mentioned before, we're on the value for value model. It's a very special economic model that seeks to disconnect itself from the overarching principality of advertisement and corporate profit motives in our flows of information, including news, corporate news, news analysis, news deconstruction. Why in the world would you want the very thing that causes the problem funding the solution to the problem, or at least the treatment? You don't want corporations getting their grubby little fingers in between you and your corporate news analysis and deconstruction. That's the whole point. We are here to analyze and deconstruct the corporate news, legacy news, obviously being controlled, if not simply influenced by corporate profit motives, advertising, psychologically manipulating you to spend money on things you don't need with money you don't have. And that's why when people come in, they say, yes, this show has value. This show brings value to my life. And if this show brings any value to your life, you're invited. In fact, some people feel it's a responsibility to put value back in, because if we are not actively, as people on this earth, if we are not actively supporting the things that are fighting against these principalities every day, or in our case, 3 days a week, then what's the point? You make a choice. Either we decide the value of the things that bring us value, or we let the corporations do it. And if we let the corporations do it, you know what? You get what you get. But these producers are people who understand that, and they have raised the rebel fist in the air to fight back against that very idea and produce this show. And we're very grateful. We could not do this show without them. Here we go. We're starting with producers. I'm going to skip supply drop today, guys.
Okay.
We're going to start with producer Lady Night Little Wing.
Lady Night Little Wing, good to see you.
That's
Thank you.
Right. Comes in with a nice round number, which is my cue to remind you. If you come in with a nice round number, simple dollar amount, with nothing funky in there, that is your note to us to not disclose the amount of your producership. If you don't mind us disclosing it, put something funky in there. Choose a funny number, or putting 33 cents in there, or 11, or something. Something that tells us you're having fun. Then we like to disclose it, but not now. Lady Night Little Wing keeping it close to the chest and says, hello and blessings, Canary fam. Just FYI, the donation is an even amount, but when the process fees are added, the elite lizard handlers reveal themselves. XO, Lady Night Little Wing. Yes, always good to let us know, because in this particular amount, it adds $1.33. So if we don't think about it, then this whole system breaks apart. But thank you very much, Lady Night Little Wing.
Thank you, Lady Night Little Wing. Lady Night Little Wing. Ugh.
There you go.
Sorry.
Next up, we've got producer Arnold W.
Arnold W.
Arnold W. is back. Thank you very much, Arnold W. coming in with 33 plus fees.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we got producer Darren S. on a 22-episode streak.
Darren S.
coming in with 33. Says, it's Friday, July 22nd, 2022, and this is streak number 22. What are the odds? So I'm donating 33 because that makes perfect sense. LOL.
That does make perfect sense.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Darren S. My kind of logic.
Thank you very much, producer Darren S. And congratulations on the streak. Let's see here. Oh, next up, we've got Kira Contrite Spirit.
Thank you very much, Kira Contrite Spirit.
Thank you very much, producer Kira Contrite Spirit, coming in with a nice round number and a note. So stoked I found you a few months ago on a 2014 CCR with Dan Duvall.
Hey.
Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, I wonder what Dan Duvall's up to. I haven't talked to him in a long time. I got saved 5 years ago, been deconstructing my crazy past on my own. Thanks to y'all's ministry operating on another level, many disjointed things now make sense. Demooch!
There you
Kira
go.
Contrite Spirit, thank you very much, producer Kira Contrite Spirit. And demooched. We love the demoochings.
Yep, thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to pull one straight from the list here that came in. If you want to write this down, Gons, please. This is Tammy W., producer Tammy W.
Tammy W.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, producer Tammy W. comes in. Whoa, this is interesting.
Oh, boy.
Whoa. Okay. Came in with 2777.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And added the fees. The fees on 2777 is 133. So confusing. This whole thing is confusing.
So what did it make it? 29?
Don't think about it too much.
Something?
Just 2777. Thank you very much, producer Tammy W.
Thank
A
you,
little
Tammy
note
W.
here says, God bless you both. God bless you, Tammy.
Oh, thank you, Tammy. Appreciate it.
Let's see here. We got producer JC, Night of the Techno Squatch with 1001.
Oh, Night of the Techno Squatch. Yeah.
1001. Amen.
And a 129 episode streak.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And a note here that says, people, we made it. The end of the week. Praise the Lord. Happy Friday, fam-a-lam. Thank you very much. Happy Friday, fam-a-lam to you. Sir JC.
Fam-a-lam.
Night of the Techno Squatch. Next up, we've got producer bot LX Protocol V2 coming in with
Protocol V2.
Pocket full of sevens and 57 episodes in a row.
Ooh. What is that? Is that anything new? No.
Nope. But it's awesome. I think the next jingle change is at 60 there for producer bot. He has a note here. Friday, Acts 1711.
66. Let's not give false information. It's 66.
That changes the streak jingle.
Oh, it changes the streak jingle?
I think it changes at 60.
It changes at 80.
Okay. Friday.
It's been on the board for a while, but go ahead. Yeah.
Acts 17:11. Search the scriptures. Pray for people. Money is tight and people fight depression. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Amen. Acts 17:11. Look it up, folks.
Yep.
Okay. And that concludes our list of financial producers who came in.
Did you skip one?
Yes, I did. Thank you. That's producer Isaac G.
Isaac G. I think you skipped two, actually.
Pocket full of sevens.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. I skipped a couple. Sorry about that, everybody. Gons, we don't need to get into it, but we had a little hiccup in our back-end processes, and it has I lost Isaac G's streak, so I don't know what he's at. So we'll just say he's on a streak.
Let us know, Isaac G.
Yeah, he will. And we also have producer Morv on a 117 episode streak, 1111.
quicker.
Oh, yeah! Man, thank you so much.
11.
Thank you, Morph.
Oh my gosh, and coming in, sliding right under that big stone door, closing, snatches his hat before it crushes it. We have Indiana Jones, a.k.a. Malik W.
Malik W. coming in.
Thank you very much, Malik W. coming in. Okay, I think that's it. There are no more updates.
Adding to
now,
the list.
that concludes our list of financial producers who came in the amount of 777 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. We've got a few more to thank later, and we will do that, who came in under that amount. But until then, thank you all for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patronage.
Morning.
Are we waking up?
We're waking up.
Okay.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
And we are doing...
Money.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. This is your time to shine, Gons.
I look like I know what a crypto is?
I love the Great Reset.
Don't you love the Great Reset?
Love it. Love the Great Reset.
So, there's an institution, an organization. It's called the SEC. Don't know if you've heard of it. It's the Security and Exchange Commission. And I feel like we need to pay attention to it a little bit more, but it's not one of those exciting topics that you can cover all the time. So I wanted to do a little bit of a run through because it's...
Sure. I mean, we talk about it. We've mentioned it, but, people I don't know. I don't even really know a whole lot about it.
Sure. So according to Investopia here, there's a brief history. This is all in the show notes, so you guys can go through all the details here. But basically, back in 1911, Kansas enacted the Blue Sky Laws, which enabled your average Joe to start investing. And but there was some problems because there are a lot of scammers, so they enacted these laws to kind of help with some of the the scammers to not scam, but didn't work really well because a lot of scams were bought. Black Tuesday happens October 29th, 1929, which leads to the Great Depression of the 20s, and in the 30s, and then in 1933, Basil.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah, two important things happened. The Glass-Steagall Act was established to keep banks from tying themselves up in the stock market and prevent them from hanging themselves in the case of a crash.
Well,
and you can't fail is basically the act there. And then the Securities Act, which is intended to create a stronger version of the state blue sky laws at the federal level. And a year later, in June of 1934, the official Securities Exchange Act was signed and the SEC was born. And their whole thing is to, just protect investors is what they say. And in this article here, it says, why was the SEC created? It says, following the stock market crash in October 1929, Congress met to search for and identify a means of restoring public confidence in the U.S. markets. Based on its research, Congress passed the Securities Act in 1933, followed by the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, the latter of which established the SEC. Okay, just want to do a quick background so people understand that, this is a thing. It's been around almost 100 years. And so keep that in mind. And
I want to also compare this, or just put it in the same time frame as what we've been referring to, especially because of the Scotus decision recently on the EPA. This is when the administrative state really got its bearings, really started. This was early administrative state. And by administrative state, we're talking about unelected bureaucratic agencies having control, mandating, basically not making laws, but having the power as if what they decree is a law.
Right.
And this is right during that time, really, maybe even one of the first examples of it, and of this administrative state that is sort of starting to be dismantled by the Supreme Court right now.
Right. And that's sort of the punchline. I'll give it now before we actually do the stories, because I think it's more useful to have the punchline to go, beforehand to go through. So I found this article from Ballotopia.org, and it's Economy and Society, July 5th, 2022, SCOTUS ruling impact on SEC. And we've been covering, a lot of the SCOTUS stuff, and how I think did we do the whole story about the EPA? I don't remember if we actually covered it or we've mentioned it.
Yeah, we didn't go deep, but yeah, we covered it.
We've covered ESG since last, or probably longer than that in terms of the actual thing, but called ESG at least in the last year, which is the environmental, social, and governance measurements or whatever, just to see how compliant you are to climate change stuff. And basically, in recent rulings, the Supreme Court limited the power of the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, right, of the United States, and so they won't have the ability to sort of control or say much about allowing. Oh, let me just read this. This is just much easier to read. According to some ESG commentators, the ruling, which is about the EPA, raises questions about the Securities and Exchange Commission's authority to demand corporate disclosure of climate change-related information. Those questions are in addition to existing others analysts have asked about the SEC's mandates, including many that were expressed in the public comments posted in response to the SEC's proposed rule. If under the major questions doctrine, some have argued the EPA is not allowed to regulate CO2 without the specific mandate from Congress, then the SEC's power to do something similar could potentially be questioned. So a couple things to point out. SEC is getting ready to basically provide this decree that all companies must disclose their climate change related information. And we shall police thee, and we will let you know if you are worthy to exist or not, right? That whole thing. And it's being pushed back by SCOTUS because it's part of this more globalist agenda, which is interesting.
Yeah. It's like our Supreme Court is literally pushing back against the Great Reset, or at least the globalist version of the Great Reset.
Right.
Which is what we've talked about before. Everybody has their own version of the Great Reset.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're kind of, it's almost like they're fighting for positioning.
Exactly.
It's like there's only so many chairs and everyone's fighting for a seat.
Yep.
Okay, so given that context, I have a few stories to cover here. This first one is from Bloomberg, and the headline here: ex-Coinbase manager arrested in U.S. crypto insider trading case. And this is a big deal. Yesterday, all the crypto channels were talking about it. U.S. authorities arrested a former Coinbase Global Inc. product manager for allegedly leaking insider information to help his brother and a friend buy tokens just before they were listed on the crypto exchange, according to people familiar with the matter. The move on Thursday to detain Ishan Wahi, who helped oversee listings for Coinbase unit focused on investment products, follows a sweeping probe that involved prosecutors in the Southern District of New York and the Securities and Exchange Commission. There they are. They're there. They're doing things in the wild. The exchange operator wasn't a focus of the probe and won't face charges, the people said. The people said. Wahi tipped off his brother Nikhil Wahi and friend Samir Ramini when tokens were about to be listed by the exchange, according to another person who, like the others, asked for anonymity because the probe hadn't been publicly disclosed. Nikhil Wahi and Ramini, who are also subjects of the government's investigation, allegedly used that information to trade dozens of tokens from at least June 2021 until April 2022 for a profit of more than $1 million, that person said.
Now, why is the SEC getting in on this?
It's because they have named some of the assets that they traded as securities. This article doesn't actually mention that the names of the coins, but the SEC actually, in this case, came out and said, these coins are securities, the ones that these guys were trading. Now, that's really interesting because there is no clarity on this issue about what a security is, and crypto is actually throwing a big wrench into the whole SEC's plans for controlling all monetary activity. Yeah, because anybody can jump in and start a crypto and release a coin, and certainly if you look at the law, the security laws, and there's a thing called the Howey test, which basically measures to see if you're a security or not based on the 1933 thing. A lot of companies, a lot of crypto projects probably do fall under security, but not everything. And it's a big debate. There's a big philosophical debate. But the SEC is like, no, we're just declaring these things as securities, which is interesting. It's almost like a flex. They're trying to flex their power.
And again, it's bureaucratic. It's not this is the type of thing that Congress should decide with public debate and make a law, not just some organization that has, power-hungry, unelected bureaucrats in it.
So that's really interesting. And then there's this article here from Reuters. U.S. SEC working to register crypto lending firms. All right, so more in the interesting developments of cases like
the Celsius thing.
The Celsius network thing, which is a big mess and bankruptcy, and makes me cry. And then there's also this story from Fox, which I thought was interesting because the SEC is rattled in this big lawsuit, which is the XRP Ripple case. We got some Ripple people out there. I think it's called like the XRP Army or something. I don't know. But Fox Business here, the headline: District Judge calls out SEC for hypocrisy in Ripple lawsuit. And this lawsuit's been going on for a couple of years, at least a year, maybe a little longer. And, it's the details get a little murky, so I don't want to go through everything, but I'll read a little bit. A federal judge in Manhattan has accused Wall Street's top cop of hypocrisy over its litigation tactics in a case that's being called the cryptocurrency trial of the century. The characterization comes as U.S. Magistrate Judge Sarah Netburn, interesting last name for the situation here, Netburn, ruled against a motion by the Securities and Exchange Commission in its lawsuit against cross-border payments company Ripple Labs. The SEC has accused the crypto platform of illegally issuing an unregistered security, XRP, to build out its business and make company insiders rich. The SEC is seeking to keep confidential documents relating to a speech given by a former SEC official in 2018 when he sought to provide clarity on the then nascent cryptocurrency market. Then it gets into the details of this whole thing, and basically the SEC is not releasing some of the information, and there's the characterization by Judge Netburn here. This is the quote: "The hypocrisy in arguing to the court, on the one hand, that the speech is not relevant to the market's understanding of how or whether the SEC will regulate cryptocurrencies, and on the other hand, that Hinman," who's this guy, the ex-CEO of the SEC, well, not CEO, what was it? What is he? I think he was one of the previous members of the SEC. Hinman sought to obtain legal advice from SEC counsel in drafting his speech, suggests that the SEC is adapting its litigation positions to further its desired goal and not out of a faithful allegiance to the law, end quote, Netburn said. Pretty startling stuff, because basically the SEC's changing their legal position on some of these issues about whether they had influence in, certain people's speeches, or was it just his opinion? And, it just gets into some messy territory there. So there's just this long dragged out case here with Ripple. We'll see what happens. Although there's another cryptocurrency, EOS, that paid billions of dollars to basically not be considered a security.
Yeah, which is kind of how it went. It was almost like, because, I had my own experiences in the early days of the token cryptocurrencies. And, you really kind of had to jump through some hoops at the early days of the SEC trying to crack down. But you could do it. It just was very expensive, which you got to remember, the SEC, as a elected bureaucratic, agency similar to the FDA. The FDA is funded by the very companies that they are meant to regulate. They get 70% of their funding from big pharma. And in the same way, the SEC, I would expect, I don't know the exact numbers, but I would expect that the SEC gets a lot of their funding straight from, the same companies they're supposed to be regulating.
Right. Yep. And also this pertains to us in a sense because we use Odyssey as one of our platforms where we're streaming. The SEC has been in a legal case against Library, which LBRY, which was basically the company that was doing video streaming before Odyssey. I mean, I think they spun off and started Odyssey. But basically, they accused Library of selling securities, and they really went after him. And it's interesting that they chose Library because they weren't really big. Like they were not well known. It was just like a project that was out there. But for some reason, the SEC thought it was worthy enough to drag them into court. And I think it's because a platform like Library or Odyssey has a true potential to really dethrone the YouTubes and stuff, of information flow.
In theory, yeah. They're at least not controllable in the same way.
Right.
Or they're not, their allegiances don't lie in the same sort of legacy authorities as the others, as YouTube, for instance.
Right. So, as much as we don't want to talk about crypto on the channel or on the podcast here, it's becoming, it's being used as an opportunity for the SEC to flex, and we'll see what happens because as they flex, it's almost like things were dormant, and now that the Supreme Court is starting to act on some of these conservative swings, these organizations will start to act up. They're going to throw tantrums. And
as we saw with CDC and FDA.
Yeah,
they did the same thing when they started getting threatened. They had to decide, like, okay, are we going to back off? Do we tighten our control even more? And that's when you get quotes from people like Fauci when he says masks on planes is not about this. Now, this is an indirect quote, but he was talking about, and this is a paraphrase of what Fauci said. There's clips of it. I should bring the clips. I forgot we're still on YouTube. You start talking about Fauci on YouTube, we're going to get
that's
trouble. But he literally said, masks on planes is not, is nothing. How can I say this safely on YouTube? He says masks on planes, at least in part, is about who has the authority to say it. Who has the authority and who can maintain the authority to mandate masks on planes?
It's a talisman.
And that was his thing. He's kind of said, like, it's not even really about should or shouldn't we wear masks. It's about setting a precedent for who has the authority to tell us either way. And that's what, he was talking about the CDC, trying to hold on to that unelected power, or give it up, is the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut you off. I do have a very interesting update on this, not in the context of crypto, if it would help non-crypto people.
Sure.
This just came across my desk here from Axios, and it's titled "A Radical Plan for Trump's Second Term."
Oh, so it's in the context, something to do with the SEC, huh?
Well, it has to do with the administrative state. The SEC is included. The IRS is included. The EPA is included. All these same, organizations we've been talking about.
Yeah, so, before you go on, I did send out a tweet kind of summarizing this idea. And John Haller, our friend over in Ohio, lawyer, he responded and said, like, that, because I said basically that the SEC might be eradicated. They might end, or at least be completely changed. And his whole thing was that won't happen unless there's a change in administration. And so to your point, if Trump does come in, because, the conservative swing is, they were suppressed for so long.
That's exactly it.
The long swing back the other way,
And let me give you the reason why. Is because every new administration that comes in, they usually get to replace about 4,000 political appointees, and these are specifically sort of the liaisons between the White House and organizations like EPA, IRS, blah blah blah. Right. There's hundreds of them. There's ones you haven't even heard about, alphabet agencies that regulate weird tiny little things we don't even think about.
Podcasts, disinformation podcasts.
The Disinformation Governance Board would have been one of them.
Would have.
And so there's about 4,000 of these liaisons that get to trade out. But it has been revealed former President Trump's top allies are preparing to radically reshape the federal government if he is elected, purging potentially thousands of civil servants and filling career posts with loyalists to him and his America First ideology. People involved in the discussions tell Axios.
Oh no, people with American ideologies in places of American government?
The impact could go well beyond typical conservative targets, such as the Environmental Protection Agency and the Internal Revenue Service. Trump allies are working on plans that could potentially strip layers at the Justice Department. That's another one. We don't really think about it, but it is filled with unelected regulatory stuff, including the FBI, another example of unelected, bureaucrats, and reaching into national security, intelligence, the State Department, the Pentagon, sources close to it. So, these are it says here, during his presidency, Trump often complained about what he called the deep state. And we've said it here, these bureaucratic agencies, they are like the most easy way to understand the deep state.
Right.
Hillary Clinton is not the deep state. It's the thousands of, people who are supposed to be non-political actors who are just basically bureaucrats, office workers. There's 2 million of them, 2 million of these employees that work for these agencies. The heart of the plan is derived from an executive order known as Schedule F. Had you heard about this?
Heard of Schedule F.
Yeah, it's been kind of bandied about recently, and I remember, but this will tell you why you haven't heard a lot about it. Developed and refined in secret over most of the second half of Trump's term and launched just 13 days before the 2020 election. The reporting for this series draws on blah, 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 blah. Anyways, there was a little bit of reporting about Schedule F, but it was right before January 6th. And so January 6th cut it off. The long story short is he's, a regular president who comes in. They get to change out about 4,000 people. Mm-hmm. There are straight up plans to replace 50,000 federal workers if Trump gets back. Gets back in power. Here's a couple of highlights I had. Such pendulum swings, talking about, Trump.
Yeah.
Changing out 50,000 deep state workers. Such pendulum swings and politicization could threaten the continuity and quality of service to taxpayers. So this is the threat. This is why Trump's the threat, because changing out all these people, you think it's a pain now to call the IRS and whatever, check your files or something. Imagine if half the whole organization are new people who just got in there. The regulatory protections, the checks on executive power, and other aspects of American democracy. Trump's allies claim such pendulum swings will not happen because they will not have to fire anything close to 50,000 federal workers to achieve the result, as one source put it, of, quote, behavior change.
A lot of talk about behavior around here.
Firing a smaller segment of bad apples among the career officials at each agency would have the desired chilling effect on others tempted to obstruct Trump's orders. They say Schedule F will finally end the farce of a nonpartisan civil service that they say has been filled with activist liberals who have been undermining GOP presidents for decades. So this is interesting because Trump allegedly, according to this reporting, has plans to act on what the Supreme Court is doing. Now, remember, a bunch of these Supreme Court people, justices, are Trump, electees or Trump appointees, rather. So you can almost see how this plan has been going on for a while.
It's almost like he meant to lose in 2020 so he can stretch out his...
Oh, so he can redo his... Yeah.
Instead of trying to figure it all out in 8 years,
chess, man. Yeah.
Doing it in 12, yeah.
He gets his one, term, then gets voted out, gets to use that as ammo while his Supreme Court make a bunch of changes.
And then lays the red carpet for him to walk down.
And then he can come in and really drain the swamp. Yeah. Now, of course, that sounds interesting. It sounds like an interesting change up compared to what we've seen in America. But you could see when they talk about threat to democracy, the Democrats are going to be playing this up because it's all their people at the IRS, at the this, at the that, at the EPA. It's all the Democrat people who will be at risk if this Schedule F thing gets.
To bring it back around to this crypto thing and then moving forward here, to your point, there's a lot of exposing happening, right? And so it's interesting because a lot of people are noticing that, they're going after a couple of these Coinbase employees for insider trading, and really with Coinbase, there's all kinds of rumors on Twitter and stuff before a coin is listed anyway.
Right.
And most people kind of know right before they actually list the coin. So I don't know why this is like a big deal of I guess an employee signed something. It's a little different, but they're noticing that,
Whoa.
Everything just shut down on my end. Hold on. All my monitors turned off. Yeah, hold on.
All of his monitors turned off. Oh, no. It looks like we're still streaming.
Okay, are we back? Are we good? Oh,
yeah, no. I think we're good. I don't think we ever turned off. Everything seems to be going fine.
Whew. Cody, are you pulling on cables or something over here? Great. I got a gremlin.
This is going dark. Gons is going dark over there. Dark.
Okay, so the point was that people were noticing and pointing out that the SEC is going after some insider traders at Coinbase, but they're not going after Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so here she is getting asked about the situation with her husband and how she responds.
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information he's received from you?
What are you saying?
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information you've received from you?
No, absolutely not. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I like how she daintily pulls the mic down. She's like, okay, we're done. Now, to her credit, she did say last question. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, she's walking out of her. It was her last question. So the guy knew when to plant that question.
At least, it was a good, it was a good last question.
And then we have this MSNBC mirroring Fox News. Nancy Pelosi blasted by Twitter users after denying she gave info to husband for stock trade. Lies.
Yeah.
And what's this guy's name? Brian Claypool. He's a criminal defense attorney. Had this to say on Fox.
The optics here are horrible, Jesse, and here's why. Because if there is evidence that Paul Pelosi gained confidential information, that would be that there's a bill in the works, $52 billion to help this semiconductor company, NVIDIA, that he invested in. If he had information about that and it wasn't available to the public, which we don't think it was to the general public, then at minimum, there should be an investigation of potential insider trading. So where is the Congressional Oversight and Reform Committee? Carolyn Maloney's the head of that. Let's contact her and find out whether there's going to be an investigation. How about the DOJ? They going to look into this?
There you go.
Interesting.
Are we gonna bring down Pelosi as part of the great teardown, the great draining of the swamp?
You know, there's the interesting stories of the two FBI chiefs, the FBI chief and I think the deputy FBI chief, who got the most extreme IRS audits.
Right. Wasn't Comey part of it too?
I believe it is Comey. I don't want to give the details because I don't have them memorized, but there's two. I believe it is the chief and the deputy chief, and it was right after. Basically, the idea is Trump did it. Like Trump told the IRS,
right.
That these are out. After these FBI guys kind of turned on Trump, and that's the kind of, power that the Democrats are. Again, kind of the conspiracy theory is that Trump got the IRS to mess with his political enemies. And that's the problem with the administrative state is, in theory, the IRS does not take orders from the president. But it is suspicious. It's something like 0.2% of the whole country gets this level of audit every year, and it just happened to be the chief and the deputy chief of the of the FBI after they turned on Trump.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of power that you can wield if you have your guys inside of these institutions. Right. And the Democrats have a lot of their guys in these institutions, and obviously that's why the GOP wants more of them. So, that's one thing we want to remember is, why am I saying this? I'm saying it because of Pelosi. Pelosi would be terrified if Trump got elected and then put in 50,000 new workers and, took control of the administrative state, because she would be completely in trouble.
She'll see Trump down the hallway and he'll scream,
"We will launch a new age!"
And she'll run away.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's more articles about how the Stock Act needs to be toughened up and stuff based on this. But I will give you some good news before we go into break, Basil.
Okay.
I know it's tough for everyone out there, even for BlackRock.
Oh, no.
Bloomberg. BlackRock is breaking the wrong kind of records. Clients of the world's largest asset manager lost an unprecedented $1.7 trillion in the first half's market carnage.
Oh, my gosh.
Imagine losing more money than all of crypto is worth. That's months.
Crazy.
And I love, let's see, BlackRock is used to breaking records. The world's largest asset manager, 10 trillion, yada, yada, yada. In the first half of this year, it lost $1.7 trillion of clients' money. BlackRock management was quick to invoke the first half market carnage when revealing the investment performance last week. Quote, 2022 ranks as the worst start in 50 years for both stocks and bonds, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer Larry Fink said on his earnings call. Oh, man. Good old BlackRock.
Yeah. They're a good barometer for how dangerous the world is. If they're losing trillions, then we'll be fine.
It's one thing to boast about, managing $10 trillion of people's money.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it's equally as large in terms of the downside, right? The higher you go, the faster you fall.
Yeah.
So,
well, in that case,
is your son?
Yeah, I had one of
the glowy.
I know.
Chest again.
I could fix that in a second. I'd have to turn off my video. Yeah, one of the, what are these Venetian blinds? What are the ones that are just hanging? The plastic hanging blinds that are like vertical.
Yeah.
One of them came off, and now I'm being blasted by sunlight that is brighter than 1,000 suns. I can fix it in a second, and I will do that as we go into this break.
Yes, it's wake.
Oh, wrong thing. There we go.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Let's listen to voicemails. You have voicemails, Gons?
I do.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message, beep.
Message
message.
Yeah, dude, you can leave us a voice message, dude. It's cool, man. Go to canarycrynewstalk.com. There's a green tab on the side or the bottom. Click on that. You can leave us a message. You're giving us permission to play that message on the show, but it's not guaranteed. Gons, play me that sweet, sweet bean footage.
All right, so we got a sweet, sweet message from the Sentinel.
Hey, Basil and Guns, it's the Sentinel. This message is not for on air.
Oh,
no! Good job.
Guns, you're supposed to listen to these beforehand. But that's good.
Who said I didn't?
Another wonderful example of
season.
Oops, sorry.
If you don't want us to play it, say it immediately. Well, it's glad to hear the Sentinel's voice. You know, he's over there in Ukraine, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing the Lord's work over in Ukraine. I think the actual Lord's work. I don't think he's
actual kingdom work. Yeah.
So, okay. Well, I can't wait to go listen to that message.
Thank you, the Sentinel. Next up, we have Gabby L.
TGIF all. I just wanted to call, hopefully encourage everyone else who may be passing through this difficult season like a kidney full of stones. Thanks. Also to just say we do appreciate the work that Gons, Basil, and this Derwin fella do, although his connections do seem somewhat sketchy. We have our googly eyes on you, Derwin.
Derwin.
I also wanted to shout out to Jessica, our friend to the far northeast, who posts so many great links on Canary Cry Community. Today, in the Scripture for Today thread, the verses just really stood out to me in light of today's threats of wars, rumors of wars, nuclear disaster. She posted Isaiah 9, verses 2 through 7, which say, "The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwelt in a land of deep darkness, on them his light shone. You have multiplied the nation. You have increased its joy. They rejoice before you as with joy at the harvest, as they are glad when they divide the spoil. For the yoke of his burden and the staff for his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor, you have broken as on the day of Midian. For every boot of the trampling warrior in battle tumult, and every garment rolled in blood will be burned as fuel for the fire."
Thank you very much, Gabby L.
Yes, thank you very much. Always nice to get some scripture in here.
Yeah, good stuff. And the Canary Cry community as well. Canary
Indeed,
Cry community.
Yeah, we haven't Canarians shouting each other out from the Canary Cry community, which we haven't pitched in a while. That's our non-Facebook social media platform. It's all Canarians all the time, baby. Go check it out, canarycry.community. You can also find the link in or on canarycry.party.
Yep. All right, we got one from Rochelle.
Happy Friday. I hope you're all doing great. I just want to encourage you all to keep your heads above the crazy. The demons are loose and they think they own the place. The Psalms repeatedly tell us to use our voice to speak truth for the sake of the kingdom and stand in the way of the wicked. BrighteonTV.com has a documentary called Bloody Hill. It's regarding the January 6th events. Please remember, we have Americans locked up. Veterans, grandmas, let us send some prayer bullets for the righteous outcome and for their release. Their voices are being silenced. Stay strong for Jesus.
Thank you very much, Rochelle.
Amen.
Amen. You figuring out your situation? Yes. Amen. All right, there you go. Thank you, Rochelle. I guess we can call upon the producers for that.
I'm here.
Producers, assemble!
You back yet? No? Okay. Still working on the Victorian blinds.
I'm coming.
Oh, okay.
I'm coming. I'm coming. Oh, gosh.
Don't rush. Be quick, but don't rush.
Dangerous things carefully. That's the key, folks. Do dangerous things very carefully. Okay, I think I'm good. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, fixed it.
Great.
Oh, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm waiting.
I'm in. I'm
You're in.
here.
Great.
What are you waiting for me for?
I'm waiting for you to tell us who else came in under 777.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. I had to take my headphones off for a second. I didn't know where we were. Yes, coming in 777 or less. We have Amy Victory in Jesus.
Thank you, Amy Victory in Jesus.
Yeah, it came in on the Patreon. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
We also have Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 183 episodes in a row.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight. Thank you.
We also have Sir Scott Knight of Truth, 172 in a row.
Sir Scott Knight of Truth, thank you very much.
We also have Gail M, 148 in a row. Yeah.
Women rule.
We also have Runk Smash.
Runk Smash.
I'm trying to figure it out. I think he's 9 in a row, I want to say. 9.
Where'd you find this?
Hey, you lit now.
Hey.
Yeah. And 9 in a row is lit. Yes, thank you very much. You're lit again. Runk Smash. It's crazy.
You're super lit, bro.
Yeah, I'm trying to I can't find his actual information, but I trust that we didn't get that too wrong. Actually, I did get it wrong. Runk Smash came in at 777. So, and he actually has a note. So we're just messing it up, but that's okay. I'm going to read the note. Note, hey everyone. A lot's happened since last show, and I need some faithful prayer warriors. Okay, producers, Gons.
Oh, no. There it is.
Producers, assemble!
Says, my older brother, Dave, also in his mid-30s, was just diagnosed with colon cancer. Oh, no. Please pray for him. His news has shaken me, and I have been very depressed since getting the news. So also, please pray for me. Thank you so much. And then he sends the microfiction. My goodness, I'm so glad that we didn't mess this up too bad. All right, producers around the world, of which there are thousands upon thousands. We are praying for Dave, who is Runk Smash's brother, and the colon cancer, of course, comfort and healing and all the good things on Dave there, but also on Runk Smash. That's heavy, man. Yeah, your brother, especially if you're close in age, colon cancer in your mid-30s. So put that in the prayer journal, folks, or just get on it right now. Remember it later. We're praying for Runk Smash and Dave, and especially for Runk Smash. Yeah, needs some peace, some comfort. So there's a lot of worry and anxiety that comes with that, and we just pray that the Lord has his hands on both you guys. My goodness.
Yeah, tough to hear.
Yeah.
We're praying for you, though. Lots of people will be praying for you guys.
Yeah, indeed. And Runk Smash is in the chat there. So good.
There you go.
Just know that the whole team's on it, Runk Smash. And we have producers in the chat right now who are probably putting that on some sort of message board as well. Yep. So thank you very much. Okay.
Are you going to read a couple reviews now?
I am going to just bust through a couple reviews now. I got good news and I got bad news, Gons. The bad news is we got no new reviews this week, which is very sad. None. Zero that are showing up on the website yet. Yeah. Crazy. So sad. So we're not going woo today. But we did have a few left over from last week. Because remember, last week was the first time we had read reviews this month. So we're going to thank some people, starting with Joyful One in the United States. 5 stars. Taking one for the team. Do you hate watching the news? Do you feel angry and frustrated after sifting through mainstream news articles? Well, this is the show for you. Basil and Gons do the hard work, so you don't have to, parsing out a steady dose of current events. This Christ-centered duo is revealing agendas and connecting the dots one story at a time. So download a recent episode, sit back, and enjoy CCNT with me. Your blood pressure will thank you. Oh, and their other stuff is good, too. I especially recommend the Joyspiracy Theory. Ooh, nice throwback there. Thank you, Joyful One.
Thank you, Joyful One.
Yeah, go check out the Joyspiracy Theory. I think there's about 50 episodes of that there, and you'll like it very much. Next up, we got Rodsworth77 from the U.S. 5 stars, most appreciated. Salutations from southeastern PA, Pennsylvania, I think. Keep up the great work, guys. I enjoy the show. You're making a difference. Thank you very much, Rodsworth77. Next up, we got J-Wolf iTunes from the United States. 5 stars, the best way to stay up to date with the world. The best way to stay up to date with today's crazy world is, and what's going on with a Christian perspective, and also putting a lightheartedness to it, so it's more bearable. Basil and Gons are always great to listen to and love the show. I usually am listening while working on late night shifts, and it always gets me through the night. God bless Josh M. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Josh M. Yeah, those are the people, people working, people doing stuff around the house or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. That's the real people listening.
It's real people, man. Thank you very much to everybody who left ratings and reviews, and to the rest of you. Go leave ratings and reviews. It's very important to us. It gives us benefits that we cannot give ourselves. Money can't buy the algorithms. It is up to you, dear listener, to leave ratings and reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts. Every Apple device has it. It's a little purple icon. Just search for Apple Podcasts. Then, when you're in there, search for Canary Cry News Talk and leave a rating and a review. It's very helpful. If we get 5 or more a week, it activates the algorithms, and and it's all because of you taking 2 minutes out of your day to leave us a rating and a review, and we appreciate it very much. And if you don't do it, Gons' grumpy uncle will shame you very, very much.
Ugly, horrible person. You must leave review on iTunes. And if you do not, you are ugly, horrible person. You bring shame to family. Ugly, horrible person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Indeed. But if we get 5 or more by next Friday, you'll make me go ooh ooh.
Now you ready to wake up?
Let us awaken.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Polly.
It's Latin for many. Tick. Now suck your blood. Now suck politics. Your blood.
We have a story here from NBCnews.com, and the headline is U.S. Rep. Lee Zeldin attacked on stage at New York campaign event. And we have a video to show that summarizes this event here, straight from NBC News. If it'll play. Come on, play. Play.
I think you should I think we should hit the article first, because for those who are just listening, they won't know what's going on.
Okay.
So this we're taking this article from NBCnews.com, and the headline is U.S. Representative Lee Zeldin attacked on stage at New York campaign event. And there's a video here. U.S. Representative Lee Zeldin was attacked on Thursday night by a man wielding a sharp object at a campaign event near Rochester, New York, officials say. Zeldin, the Republican candidate for New York governor, so he's running against Hochul, was uninjured, and no other injuries were reported. In the video of the attack, a man can be seen on stage with Zeldin grabbing his arm before they fall to the ground. "You're done," the man can be heard repeating in the assault, which unfolded around 8 p.m. at the Veterans of Foreign Affairs War Foreign Wars post in Parrington. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office identified the suspect as David Jacobonis, 43. The attack ended after the suspect was restrained by people in the audience, as well as members of Zeldin's campaign. Video recorded by NBC affiliate WHEC of Rochester shows. And now I think we can play the video, and the audio people will understand.
Is our last stand for New York.
A political campaign event taking a violent turn. A man attacking Republican Congressman and gubernatorial candidate Lee Zeldin during a speech in upstate New York. Video of the incident, obtained by our NBC affiliate WHEC, shows the man approaching Zeldin on stage at the VFW post near Rochester.
And there's only one option. No. You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done.
Holding a sharp-looking object in his hand, the man lunges at Zeldin, attempting to stab him, according to Zeldin's campaign. Zeldin grabbing the man's wrist before others intervene, tackling the man to the ground. Monroe County Sheriff's deputies identifying the suspect as 43-year-old David Jacobonis. Jacobonis was subdued and restrained with zip ties. The crowd cheering as police arrive on the scene and handcuff Jacobonis, taking him into custody, charging him with attempted assault in the second degree, later releasing him on his own recognizance. Following the scuffle, Zeldin went back on stage to finish his remarks, later tweeting grateful for the attendees who stepped up quickly to assist, and the law enforcement officers who quickly responded.
While investigators have not confirmed a motive for the attack, the incident comes as actual or threatened violence against lawmakers is on the rise. According to a New York Times review, more than 75 people have been indicted for threatening lawmakers since 2016.
Oh, extremely scary, Gabe.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I thought you had the raw video clip. I didn't know you had a report.
Both. Yeah, I got both, but
okay.
Yeah,
well, I wouldn't have read it if I knew that.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So, yeah, interesting. The guy had on a hat, the stabber guy had on a veteran's hat and Stabman, Iraqi veteran hat. And yeah, he's got this little, kind of like brass knuckles.
So yeah, this was one of the interesting things when we were just watching the raw video was you hear he's got a knife, then you hear he's got a gun, There's just like a lot of yelling, obviously a chaotic moment. There was the footage I thought you were going to play had a close up on the fella. And you can clearly see, and you wouldn't know what it was unless you've seen one of these before. But the ladies out there, you'll know exactly what this is. He had the cute kitty brass knuckles.
The kitty ears knuckles. Yeah.
Yes, the cute kitty brass knuckles that is sort of generally sold as a walk home safe. Yeah. Walk home safe at night keychain thing, where it's the shape of a cat's face and the ears, and it's metal. It's very hard metal, and you put your fingers through the eyeballs of the cat, and it turns into like some very sharp brass knuckles. Which was a weird choice for this gentleman to use while assaulting a political opponent. I think it is weird that they let this fella out immediately on his own recognizance. I would think that this counts as like an attempted terror attack.
Yeah.
Attacking a political person. Is very, especially here we are like a week after the Abe shooting.
Yeah. I think the Abe thing was kind of a signal that we're going to see a lot more of the politicians getting attacked in public.
Yeah. This reporter said that we had seen more of that. Have we seen a lot of this in the U.S.?
He said Who else? He said 70-something cases of people indicted for maybe plans or some kind of assault against political people since 2016. Obviously, got connected to Trump.
Since 2016. Yeah, I was gonna say sounds like a Trump thing or like a January, adding like January 6 numbers in there or something.
Right.
Yeah, interesting. It's also interesting. This guy, never judge a book by its cover, apparently, because this fella looks like a conservative. He looks like the stereotypical conservative that you would say he looks like a conservative.
I wouldn't put it past, because Have we heard of Lee Zeldin before this?
No.
Nope.
No.
So, in my opinion, this could have been staged to bring conservatism to New York. Because if we're going to nuke New York, can't nuke liberal New York. We got to nuke conservative New York. You know, we gotta flip it around a little bit. And by the way, I do have that raw footage. We don't have to play it because we just played the report on it. I will play this one part because as the commotion continues, there is a gentleman that wants to convey a message, and I have it here at the very end of this video. Hold on one sec. Here it is. Let me cue it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we must unequivocally back our men and women of law enforcement to keep us safe.
You know what? The guy saw a moment and he took it. We don't know who that was. There's just some random guy.
Some random guy. But you know what's funny is I think he noticed that when he yelled for attention and everybody looked at him, I think he had like that, you know, that moment.
The sinking moment.
The sinking moment. You go, oh, everyone's looking at me, even though I wanted the attention.
You wanted the attention, and when you get the attention, it's a little different than you expected. A little different
when you're put on the spot. And I think he kind of panicked a little bit and said his piece, whatever it was, something about protecting police, law enforcement,
supporting law enforcement.
And he walks by the guy who's holding the camera. He walks by. And his position, I don't know, his walk is very interesting. He's got his hands behind his back, but I don't know, man. It was just a very interesting scene. So I don't know. I just thought it was to show the other side, the loyalty in New York.
Yeah. I think this guy was drunk. Not the guy. I think the stabber guy was, once he's detained and they are like zip tying his feet and stuff, he just starts like, he's just like making dinosaur noises. You're done.
You're done.
Well, let's check on. We got to check on our UFO buddies.
Oh, this is fantastic. I love this. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Obama, tell us about it.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
Aliens. Yep. Aliens.
So we got to stay one step ahead of Shilzilligons. He's trying to step on our turf. I'm going to check real quick. I'm popping over to Chris Saliza's Twitter, see if he's tweeted anything about Nephilim. See if he's signaling us since last episode. Let's see here. Not yet. Let's see.
I don't think he catches him live.
You don't think he watches the show live?
There's probably a delay in
it's all Fox stuff. Liz Cheney, slow-mo moment, everybody. It's all January 6th stuff. He's on the... He should tweet like, oh, were there Nephilim at January 6th? Liz Cheney, tell us the truth.
Is Liz Cheney a Nephilim? What if everything just turns into Nephilim on his timeline? Then we'll really know.
This one is weird. He just simply... This was still the 21st. This was yesterday. He simply tweets a GIF. I believe this is from The Godfather when they kill the guy in the wheat field driving. Yeah, just saying, leave the gun, take the cannoli. Don't know what he's trying to say there.
Is there?
It's so strange. It's such an odd thing for him to tweet. I was seeing if there was did we reference a cannoli last episode or anything?
No, I think that's just deep into the confines of the mind of Chris
the Chris Shilzilla mind.
Really fascinating caverns of thought that show up on Twitter.
All right, we'll figure it out. Well, like I said, we got to stay 3 evil steps ahead of Chris Shilzilla. Says defensenews.com headline: Pentagon renames UFO office, expands mission to include TransMedium objects. TransMedium. After only 8 months of existence, the Pentagon's office tasked with investigating and tracking UFOs or unidentified aerial phenomena will look beyond the stars for objects of interest. On Wednesday, the Pentagon announced that it renamed and expanded the authority of the government's chief UFO office, formerly known as the Airborne Object Identification and Management Group.
AOMG.
AOMG. I like the management part because it's, you gotta, if you find the UFOs, you gotta manage the UFOs. You can't let these UFOs go unmanaged, and gives it an especially sort of bureaucratic flair. The office will now be known as the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or ARROW. Way
domain
cooler, way cooler name. All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office.
What do you mean all domain? Does that include space and cyber?
With the new name comes increased responsibilities, the Defense Department said in a statement. While the group was mostly focused on airborne and threats in space, the renamed office will also look into unidentified objects that are submerged in water or deemed TransMedium. Not as exciting, but still cool.
You got to do it one pebble at a time. You can't dump the whole bucket of rocks on people's heads.
Well, I have no idea what you're trying to say, Gons, but that's okay. I just like to let it flow over me. Whatever you're saying, the spirit of it is very much affecting me. Because you've got these UFOs that start underwater and then blast up out of water with no speed changes whatsoever. Yeah, you remember this?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, keep reading though, because it does give us a.
I will. TransMedium typically refers to the ability of an object to fly across multiple environments. For example, an object could be considered transmedium if it could fly through Earth's atmosphere in addition to another environment, such as space or underwater. The office's new scope and name result from a provision of the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal 2022. The bill included a provision to establish an office with responsibilities that were broader than those originally assigned to the old office. It's got to be better than Trump's office. The renaming comes amid an uptick in interest in UFOs in Washington. Congress takes renewed interest in the issue. And then it just goes into the stuff we already know about Congress. Yeah. So there you go. Way cooler name. All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. That is a name that you can be proud of, especially if you're working in the government. You've been excited and into UFOs for years. And they're like, oh, finally the government's going to study UFOs. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is my chance. And you get hired to the Airborne Object Identification and Management Group. Bummer. Oh, wait, they're changing the name. All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. That's much more Men in Blacky.
It is.
Arrow. Welcome to Arrow, kid. This is fun.
What's interesting about this TransMedium thing, and obviously, they're telling everybody it's space to water to air, but there could be some other things. dailymail.co.uk, the headline: scientists create strange new phase of matter that occupies 2 time dimensions. Could be a breakthrough for powerful computers that perform complex tasks.
2 time dimensions?
Yeah.
What is that? Pacific time and Central time?
There you go. Entanglement.
Thank you.
A strange new phase of matter which seems to occupy 2 dimensions of time has been created in a lab by scientists. The mind-bending discovery could pave the way for quantum computers, powerful machines that use the properties of quantum physics to store data and perform complex computations. It also represents a completely different way of thinking about phases of matter, according to computational quantum physicist Philip Dumitrescu of the Flatiron Institute. Matter normally exists as either solid, liquid, or gas, although there are also many less familiar phases, such as time crystals. In lab experiments, physicists shone a pulsar laser at atoms inside a quantum computer. The pattern of pulses was inspired by the Fibonacci sequence, in which each number is the sum of the previous two. During this process, the researchers created a remarkable, never-before-seen phase of matter. The new state exhibited two time dimensions, despite there still being only one singular flow of time. The researchers claim that any information stored in this new phase of matter would be much better protected against errors than with any of the setups currently used in quantum computers. This means information could be kept around for a lot longer, which in turn could make quantum computing much more achievable. Quote, I've been working on these theory ideas for over 5 years, and seeing them come actually to be realized in experiments is exciting, Dumitrescu said. Quantum computing is based on qubits. We know about qubits. This extra information allows quantum computers to examine all possible outcomes. We know about that. Covered that years ago. Then it talks about Schrodinger's cat. We know about that. There you go. Basil, putting these stories side by side here, just in terms of observing the narrative that is being constructed before us, the U.S. government is starting to identify UFOs as TransMedium. At the same time, scientists have created a new phase of matter that occupies, it seems to have some kind of trans property to it.
Right, okay. Transtemporal
quality, yeah. And I don't know, but it just feels like they are getting ready to really unleash the sci-fi to the world.
Yeah, it's really trippy, man. I still don't understand what this two dimensions of time means. Did I miss it? Did I miss a good explanation?
I don't know. I mean, it is a little vague.
Oh, a little, huh? Just a little bit vague for old Gonzi here.
They stored information in some quantum state. Is that what they did here?
Something.
And then
I don't know what that means.
It's better protected because it's in a different state of time.
Yeah. Did they send it back to like the like medieval times or something? Did a piece of data just flit across like some knight's helmet? And how is that going to change?
It is interesting because all they do is talk about quantum computing, which we know about.
Yeah.
You know, but then they just say like, oh, they just did it. Let me see if there's it talks about the error qubits. Okay, however, by using pulses of lasers in the Fibonacci sequence to create a special arrangement in time.
Of course, it's in the Fibonacci sequence.
Yeah. Did you miss that earlier?
I did.
I mentioned it,
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Fibonacci, you measure some of that stuff on crypto charts. My goodness. Anyway, Fibonacci sequence to create a special arrangement in time. The scientists added not one, but two time symmetries. They will now work to integrate the findings into functional computers that can rely on the strange behavior to actually improve quantum computers. The new discovery has been revealed in a paper published in the journal Nature. So, yeah, something about lasers and quantum time lock info.
Makes total sense. Totally into it. Totally a fan. Have no idea what it means or if I should care, but it sounds awesome. And that's really what matters.
But think about the properties that UFOs allegedly display, which is they seem to break or not follow the laws of physics as we understand it. But then you have all this quantum stuff that's being, obviously it's been a discipline for over 100 or about 100 years, I guess, a little more.
Yeah.
But really, seeing a lot of progress in more recent times because of the computing and the technology to conduct experiments and everything else has caught up to the theories. But I don't know, man. I just think it's interesting. If you have a craft that can slip into some different time, just let me shift into a little time differential here.
TransMedium, man.
Yeah, a little TransMedium action. And we're over here on timeline B, and the regular world is in timeline A over there. But we'll go back there when we're ready.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just a very interesting pair of stories to hit the news.
Yeah, I'm just messing with you. I understand it completely. I just don't want anybody to ask me questions about it because I'm not allowed to talk about it. And with that, I think it's time to take a quick break. Take a look at some audio, baby.
Yeah, take a look at audio. Yeah, okay.
Gons, you wouldn't understand, okay? It's transmedium, transtemporal. We're going to take a look at some audio.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I forgot that you only perceive audio with your sound holes. It's a little bit different once you go up.
I see colors and shapes, but that's not what I see immediately.
That is how you see. That is what you see. You see colors and shapes.
Yeah.
You hear. Okay.
Yeah, no, but
all right, folks.
I see sound in colors and shapes when I close my eyes.
I think that's called being high on mushrooms. Next up,
we're here to thank our producers who come in with their talent. We call upon our listeners to step up and become producers of the show by contributing with their God-given talent. Don't just consume the content, but actually provide value back by building the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. All we ask is that whatever you make is in reference to the actual show, whether it be a news story we cover or...
I think we need to change that.
Okay, all right.
I don't think it needs to necessarily refer to a news story or something we actually do on the show, because so much of the lore has been created strictly by the artists and has nothing to do with something we said. But, the main thing is make it for the show. I know we have a lot of talented artists and we love that. But, if you're going to send something in, just make it for us. Don't send us something you made for your mom.
Wow. Mom hater over here. All right. All we ask is that whatever you make is for the show.
There you go.
All right. Well, we're going to look at some audio production here. Look at some audio production here.
Audio production.
Going to start it off here with a piece that we got from Sparf Pater, otherwise known as Waldo.
This is from Waldo.
Oh, okay. Is he not known as this other thing, or
no? He's Waldo. That's the name he gave us. Is Waldo.
Waldo. All right. Man, you don't have to get mad, bro. Chill.
I'm just, you know what? If somebody gives us a name to use, we got to use the name.
Okay. All right. Well, this is from Waldo, and he says, "Hope it works."
It's Friday. Keep playing with the Friday. It's Friday. Keep playing with the Friday.
That's a spicy meatball.
What in the world? Whoa! Was that transtemporal? Was that a transmedium jingle?
I think the jingle
I feel like I jumped the timeline a little bit there.
A little bit of a It's like that is embedded time streams into one jingle.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Thank you very much, Waldo.
Thank you, Waldo.
What is it got like a little Cubano in there?
Yeah.
A little Cubano and then a spicy meatball.
Spicy meatball. Yeah.
I feel like there's an inside joke that he's not letting us in on.
It might have been something we said last episode too. You never know.
It's true. We don't remember most of the things we say. Thank you very much, Waldo.
Thank you, Waldo. We found you. Next up, we have Jonathan F.
Jonathan F.
Gave us a couple of relevant and important jingles. This first one, Event 201.
Event 201. Illness with symptoms ranging from mild flu-like signs to severe pneumonia.
Pandemic.
That kind of wild, psychotic,
trippy
feel is very apropos.
Okay, very good. Thank you. That'll be perfect for when Sir Casey the Shield Knight inevitably makes it to 201 episode streak. Thank you, Jonathan.
Sir. He also got one for AOC.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I'm not the expert on geopolitics.
Play that again. Let me hear it again.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I'm not the expert on geopolitics.
Okay,
Oops.
I got it the second time.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Again, some nice temporal time stream crossing there.
Yeah.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Okay, one more time.
You want to hear it again?
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I'm not the expert on geopolitics.
I'm not the expert on geopolitics.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Well, that is true.
That is true.
That is true. Thank you very much, Jonathan F.
Thank you, Jonathan F. That does it, I believe, for the audio production. And we will wake up, do a few stories, and then we'll look at some visual art later on. You ready?
Let's do it.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Oh, you know what? I think we need to say bye to YouTube.
Oh, it's time. Okay, farewell, YouTubers. Go to the Twitch channel. I'll go ahead. I'll be cool. Let me grab that. Let me grab that old linky poo for you, because what is to follow is the types of things that are, as we say, too hot for YouTube.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Go to Twitch, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is. You can find all those links at canarycry.party as well. Too hot for YouTube. That's right.
YouTube. Now you see me. Now you don't.
A pandemic special.
Pandemic special.
And all those